The following is a presentation of the Watertown Baseball Association in partnership with Aero TV and KXLG Radio. This is coverage of the 2025 State A American Legion Baseball Tournament from historic Watertown Stadium on Post 17 TV. Now, let's head down to the diamond and round the bases with the KXLG pregame show on Post 17 TV.
And welcome back to historic Watertown Stadium. It's game number 2 on day number 3 of the 2025 South Dakota Class A American Legion State Baseball Tournament. We just came off a doozy, another extra inning contest going 10 innings, Yankton defeating Renner, and now we have another good matchup. It's number 2 versus, actually number 1 versus number 3 in an elimination game. Joining me right now, we got Ben Dilla and we have Todd Judding. We're getting ready for the game. They're getting all set up. We're a little behind schedule due to that game going into extra innings, 2 days in a row doing that. But this one should be a barn burner. Post 22. This is our third game in Watertown this year against Watertown. And when they played in the regular season, it was Post 22 getting 2 wins by a score of 1-0 in game 1, 7-4 in game number 2. And now Watertown looks to try to get in that win column when it matters, Elimination Day here at the state tournament. Ben Dilla, what do you think about this matchup tonight?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I said earlier today, I think this game comes down to, one, if Watertown can get their bats going. Their offense has been a little stale so far this state tournament. So I'm a big fan of the phrase, hitting is contagious. So let's see if Watertown's bats can catch a cold here today. And on the flip side, we talked with Kevin Torvey yesterday, the coach of Post 22, and he was not pleased with their pitching and defense. So if they come back to form and pitch and play defense well, Post 22, I think that's the matchup right there. Watertown's offense versus Post 22's defense.
Absolutely, and you got to think Post 22 is pretty hungry. They ended up losing for the first time in a long time to Rapid City Post 3-20 in game number 1 for them by a score of 4-1. Beat Brandon Valley yesterday 11-9. Now let's talk about Watertown, who in game 1 defeated Pierre 5-2, and then in a very exciting game last night, lost to Harrisburg 6-3, and I'm just going to tell you, it was pretty loud. Todd Judding, what did you think of last night's contest?
It definitely had volume to it. There's no question about that. It was, it was a pretty well played game. I think you look at it, I think Harrisburg probably a little bit better than we were at that point in time yesterday, and and it showed. And I think what Ben said, they got to get the bats going here a little bit. You look at the games that they previously played against 22. What they scored? 2 runs total or 5 total? And so they got to get the bats going a little bit, and we'll see what happens if it comes down to pitching and defense, or maybe manufacturing a run here or there. But to manufacture runs, you got to have guys on base. So it'll be an interesting matchup.
Absolutely. Well, when we talk about players, let's first of all talk about Rapid City Post 22. The name that comes to mind, and a gentleman that we talked to yesterday, Wyatt Reeder, going into the state tournament, had an average of .545 and quite the hockey player, as we found out as well. Wyatt sure is fun to watch, Ben.
Yes, he is. And, you got to wonder, he's a lefty, so do you just give him the Barry Bonds treatment? Just put him on first, take your chances with the guy behind him. That doesn't always work well in Legion baseball, giving people, free bases. But at this point, if he's batting .545 and he hit a home run yesterday, he's a dangerous hitter. So, yeah, I'm excited to be able to watch him again and see what he can do today.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk more about Watertown. In the first game, Caden Rylands, the star pitcher for Watertown, who's heading to South Dakota State University in the fall, pitched a very good game in game 1. He could return by Saturday, or on Saturday, as we've talked. But last night, Talon Jurgens pitched in the loss to Harrisburg. And, pitching-wise, Watertown, they pitched a lot of pitchers here this year, Todd, but that's always a concern when you get to this point of the tournament.
Yeah, you still have to throw strikes, and that's part of the game. But, Talon did throw a pretty good game last night. He pitched well, but to me, he's more of a pitch-to-contact guy, so the defense has to play behind him, and, he's going to hopefully keep the ball down, and and he did those things for the most part. But they, Harrisburg just hit the ball so well yesterday and played well, and pitching obviously is going to be a big thing today. I don't know who they're throwing for sure. My guess is probably McClemens will start, and it's one of those things where he's going to have to throw strikes and let the defense work behind him, because I think if it push comes to shove, it might be a game where you see a lot of runs scored.
Yeah, good. Well, now we're going to have Benny explain what happens next round with I'm just joking, because this is super confusing in South Dakota American Legion baseball. When you get to Friday or Thursday, we're not quite sure when a team wins who they're exactly going to play, because there's a lot of scenarios we won't probably know until the end of tonight, Ben.
Yeah, so the thing is that they want to keep teams apart. So if you've already played the team in the state tournament already, they want to not do rematches. So by any means necessary, if we could have new matchups after the games tonight, then we'll know who will be playing in the schedule for tomorrow's games.
Absolutely. So that kind of makes it a little tricky there, and we'll know here before the end of the broadcast, hopefully here with our last game tonight. Well, let's also backtrack a little bit to the last game. We've had Yankton 2 days in a row with extra inning ball games. And one thing we found out that I know some of us were a little surprised with, once we got to the 10th inning, it changed. Much like the Major League Baseball, instead of going old school style extra innings, you put the one runner on second and started from there. Your thoughts on that, Todd?
Well, I'm kind of an old school guy. I like they should have kept playing on, especially if you're in a state tournament. Maybe during the year you do that, maybe just to kind of speed things up a little bit. But, you're in an elimination game, and, both teams had chances to win it earlier and just weren't able to get a run across and hold on to it. But then you go back and look at it and say, well, maybe that's why they did it too, because move things along. But I'm still a fan of the old school style. Just somebody's got to plate one, one way or another.
We heard a lot coming from Todd's mouth. Bunt. Why's that?
I'm a small ball guy. I mean, you got a guy in scoring position, you got to move him along, and it also puts pressure on the defense. And I think we saw it a couple times earlier. Once today, I think with Renner did early. They scored early with a couple bunts. And yesterday, 320 did it a couple times and had success with it. To me, it's a little bit of a lost art. Guys don't always put the ball on the ground or whatever the case might be, but it really puts pressure on the defense when you start looking at it, So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out today.
Absolutely. Of course, coming up here in just a little bit, it's a fun matchup that anytime you see it on the schedule, if you can make the game, you got to, because it doesn't happen very often. Rapid City Post 22 versus Watertown coming up shortly. But that's not it. We have another game coming up later. Might be a little later than we originally planned, but it's the battle of 7 and 8, which who would have thought that in the matchup of two undefeateds in the tournament right now. It's Harrisburg taking on Rapid City Post 320. I don't know about you, Benny, but after yesterday, I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fitting that they're both 2-0, because so far they have kind of been the best well-rounded teams we've seen so far in this tournament. They come in as the 7 and 8 seeds, but they're definitely not playing like them. And, the winner of that game gets a bye to Saturday.
That's right.
So a lot on the line, not just for tomorrow.
Could get a bye, I think.
Yes, correct. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, we got to clarify that one.
Yeah. So they are playing for something. It's not just to see who can go 3-0 and 2-1. So yeah, there's a lot on the line tonight against two teams that are playing very good baseball.
Well, it looks like we're still getting the field ready, so it looks like we have a little more time here. So we'll continue on with the pregame show, KXLG pregame show. Again, it was fun in the last game doing our KXLG Inside the Game, getting some of the guys that were up in the booth in the production control room where they were showing us how this all works with Post 17 TV. They do a great job. We're going to hear more from that coming up a little bit later tonight as well. But let's talk about this game. It's Rapid City Post number 22 taking on Watertown, elimination game. Rapid City Post 22, their record 59 wins and 9 losses. Watertown, a record of 38 wins and 26 losses. I don't know, but Todd, when you were back playing Legion baseball, did you play that many games?
No, we did not play that many games, and I think it got a stretch where they did play quite a few games, but I know Rapid City does. They travel all over, so they do have a lot more games for that reason. They're probably playing a lot more tournaments, so they are going to have more wins or losses based on that travel time and how they do it. But I think in Watertown you got a lot of kids that do multiple sports, and I know Rapid City does have a couple, I think, but I know back in the days they played baseball, so they did. They didn't have any other options. If you're going to play baseball, you played baseball. You didn't play basketball. You didn't play another sport. So, and that's why their record is what it is and was what it was. I mean, let's be realistic here. And
They definitely have a nice bus and get a lot of miles.
Yeah, they do that. I did see that they didn't take infield, outfield, so I think as per your conversation yesterday with Coach not being very happy, I think the message has been sent.
Yeah, I would agree. Look out for Rapid City Post 22. They're definitely going to be ready as we talk about this contest coming up as well. A lot of emotions when you get to this point of the tournament, Benny. You win, you stay again, you lose, you're done, and you hate to play that last game. Now, the one thing we do want to mention again, which a lot of people didn't know going into this, with the Central Plains Regional, this year they're taking 2 teams. So we've eliminated, now technically, 3 of them. So we're down to 5. You want to win state, but if you get second, that's not a bad consolation prize.
No, you get to go to the tournament. Each state in the region is sending 2 teams, so you still get to keep your season can continue even if you don't necessarily win the state championship, and that's a fun and an exciting thing to do to go try to play in the regional, test yourself against the other states, and maybe make the Legion World Series.
Yeah, and that'll be coming up shortly after this tournament is over. The Central Plains Regional will be held in Fargo, North Dakota. So now this year, as we've talked about the changes when we've talked to one of the commissioners, Bo Garcia, there's going to be 2 teams from South Dakota, of course 2 teams from North Dakota, 2 teams from Minnesota, and 2 from Nebraska. And Todd, super fun if you get to that level and you get to play some outside competition with the chance to go to an area you know well in North Carolina for the Legion World Series. And I think it's Cary, North Carolina, is it?
Yep, exactly. It is in Cary. And yeah, I think as a coach, you're looking at not only maybe having a shot to, like I said, win the state title here, but then also if you get second, it's not sugar, it's not necessarily being unsweetened by getting second place this year. We get the opportunity to advance to the regionals. So opportunities, and you just got to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking for a fun night here. We want everybody to come out here for this contest. I think we'll see a pretty good crowd for this next one. Rapid City Post 22 versus Watertown coming up here shortly. I think our 45 minutes is turning into a little longer than 45 minutes in between games, but that's okay because a lot of people are getting some free baseball, Benny.
Yeah, they are. And, Yankton's getting their experience in with their 2 extra inning games. And, shout out to Tate Bessie, who came in relief last game and really held his own in a lot of tough situations. They got him out of it, kept him alive, and Yankton ends up getting the go-ahead single in the top of the 10th and ultimately winning that game. So it's been fun.
What's fun for a lot of people here in Watertown are the connections to some of the other teams. We hear that Bestie name. We know a lot of Besties here with Watertown roots.
Absolutely. They started out at Brookings down there, and then ended up they were here coaching and teaching in Watertown, and then went back. One day moved down to Yankton, but I think his dad actually retired from Brookings School District and came back and did some teaching here in Watertown. So there's a little bit of a connection there.
Got the Arbogast connection as well from Renner, as we've talked before also. But a lot of people have been out here to Watertown Stadium enjoying the sights and sounds. And even, Todd, we should mention this while we got a chance. One of the true legends in baseball here in South Dakota, Bert Wilson, stopped by, wanted to check out the facility, and he was pretty impressed.
He was. He said the field looks great. They did a great job getting it ready, and how impressed he was with how it looked. But then he brought back some memories of back when he was a young kid, and they'd milk early on game day so they could come and watch the Expos back in the 60s when they were here. So it was a little reminiscing.
Absolutely. Great to see Bert. Well, we're going to wrap up the KXLG pregame. We'll send it back to the production control room, and we'll be back with more. Get ready for an exciting game coming up. For Todd Juddy and Ben Dilla, I'm Jeremy Herbold.
Good afternoon, baseball fans, and welcome to historic Watertown Stadium as we get set for this afternoon's elimination game between the Watertown Arrows and the Rapid City Post 22 Hard Hats. I'm Brett Nathaniel, he's Nate Russell, and we are going to send it all the way over across the way and get our starting lineups from Tyler Merriam.
Batting second, center fielder, number 19, Lars Kiefer. Batting third, first baseman number 18, Wyatt Reeder. The cleanup batter, designated hitter number 27, Kane McLeod. Batting fifth, left fielder number 22, Jace Morgan. Batting sixth, the second baseman number 12, Dawson Inhofer. Batting seventh, catcher number 21, Josh Elder. Batting eighth, right fielder number 23, Carter Johnson. Batting ninth, shortstop number 11, Blaine Hunt. The starting pitcher number 17, Declan Mickley. And the rest of the Hard Hats with assistant coaches Nick Ewing and Nick Kindred, and the head coach of Rapid City Post 22, Kelvin Torvey. Now let's meet the home team on the scoreboard, the Watertown Post 17 Arrows. The batting order for Watertown, leading off and playing third base, number 2, Hayden Reese. Batting second, right fielder, number 5, Mitch Olson. Batting third, center fielder, number 22, Marcus Pitkin. The cleanup batter, shortstop, number 23, Nate Briggs. Batting fifth, the catcher, number 16, Caden Rylance. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, number 10, Jonathan Lake. Batting seventh, second baseman, number 7, Trayton Hemrick. Batting eighth, the first baseman, number 14, Talon Jurgens. Batting ninth, the left fielder, number 1, Cole Hansen. The starting pitcher, number 13, Jackson McClemens. The bat boy, Phoenix Thomas. And the rest of the Arrows with assistant coaches Nick Geffrey and Travis Schmidt, and the head coach of Watertown Post 17, Ryan Neal. Friends, at this time, we ask that you all please rise and remove your hats for the reading of the American Legion Code of Sportsmanship, to be followed by the singing of our national anthem. As Lyle gets in position, we will tell you our umpires for today's game are Dustin Spurlick behind the plate, John Whitcraft at first, and Steve Creer at third. We will now have the recitation of the code to be followed by the singing of our national anthem. To recite the code, the chairman of the South Dakota State American Legion Athletic Commission, Mr. Lyle Tolsma.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great day for baseball. The weather's held out, and I just wanted to congratulate everybody that's made it this far. Thanks to the fans, the veterans, parents, grandparents for making this all possible, and especially the veterans. So, without further ado, repeat after me. I will keep the rules, keep faith with my teammates, keep my temper, keep myself fit, keep a stout heart in defeat, keep my pride under in victory, keep a sound soul, a clean mind, and a healthy body. Good luck, gentlemen.
And now now to perform our national anthem, Cody and Justin Hansen. Please honor the flag beyond the fence in left field as they perform the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Very nice rendition of our national anthem as we get set for baseball action here at Watertown Stadium. It's Rapid City Post 22 and the hometown purple and gold Watertown Post 17. Nathaniel and Nate Russell here, Post 17 TV. This week's production is in conjunction with the great crew at Arrow TV. Make sure you go like them on YouTube as well as liking Post 17 TV on YouTube as well. And you can keep on top of what's going on. We have the KXLG Inside the Game. We'll have that between the fourth innings. And also, I've been sending those out on our social media. Make sure you like the Watertown Baseball Association on Facebook, Instagram, and X if you want to go check those out. I'll be sending those out over the next couple of days. For Rapid City 22, it feels weird to say, but for the last couple of years, they've kind of moved their way through the consolation bracket, if you will, the elimination game, the elimination side of the brackets. And for Watertown, you know, hopes were high coming into this tournament, but fell to a very good Harrisburg team last night. And you know, what do? It's win or go home. You got to throw it all out there, don't you?
Yeah, at this point, there's nothing left to leave on the table. You're just fighting for the opportunity for the next game. And we kind of talked about it a little bit off air, Brent. These two teams, not teams that normally see each other, and they talked about it in the KXLG pregame as well. They saw each other just before the 4th of July break. Rapid City took game 1, 1-0, and my goodness, if that was not a pitcher's duel. Both pitchers basically going complete game. Rylance, complete game, 4 hits, 1 earned, 7 Ks, and 3 walks. And then Rippentrop for the Hard Hats going 6 2/3 with 3 hits and 6 Ks and a single walk. Obviously no runs in a 1-0 game. Morgan had to come in and throw a single pitch to record a single out. And then game 2, 7-4 goes the Hard Hats' way. All of that is to say they saw each other, but they didn't really see each other in that we have McClemens going for post 17. We've got Mickley going for post 22. A couple of guys that neither team has seen yet on the mound. They've seen each other as far as offense and defending goes. It'll be a little bit of an interesting chess match there. Obviously, they talked a little bit in the pregame about how post 22 feels like they're not playing defense the way they would like to. So we'll see if they clean that up here as well. Post 17 going to start with the first pitch coming up.
And keep in mind as well, McClemens, he's already seen action in this tournament. He came in at relief in game number 1, so he's already got about 27 pitches in the tournament, so he can't go the full 105. He's going to have to be pulled sometime today, as that one is sent directly to the third baseman, Reese, and he's got no play as he kind of bobbled that one in the grass, and reaching will be Roberts. Not the way you wanted to start this one if you're post 17.
if you're post 17, it's the leadoff hitter. You don't want to fall asleep. I think probably not normally post 22's MO to come out bunt with the leadoff guy in the top of the first, but catching Reese a little bit on his heels there, bobbles it, and they have a base runner immediately.
To the plate is Lars Kiefer. And he'll send that one in the gap, center field. That'll be a base hit, and there's 2 on now here for Rapid City.
And the approach early for the Hard Hats appears to be in the box, be ready to hit that one right back up the middle. And Briggs gave it a shot, but unable to corral it. So McClemens, little traffic early. We've talked about it over the last couple of days. Pitches under stress are a lot more taxing than pitches with nobody on.
Clemens, the number 3 pitcher for Watertown this year. Bunt shown, pulled back, and ball is the call.
I'd be surprised if the bunt comes down here simply because you've got traffic on without any outs. Giving away an out in the top of the first seems a little bit early for that kind of thing.
Ground ball, playable there for Briggs. There's 1, turn to 2, did not get it. The out will be at second bag as Reeder will reach on the fielder's choice. Nice grab there, but just couldn't get that one over, a little bit high, but running that one out was Reeder.
And Reeder, pretty good speed down the first baseline. That's a tough one when the throw doesn't get to the middle of the chest. And for Himrick, he's got to go up and gather it a little bit and then get reset to make that throw. It was probably a full step that Reeder beat that throw by, but pretty good turn nonetheless.
It's Kane McLeod, the DH. First pitch goes down for a strike. 0-1 McLeod. That one low, 1-1.
McLeod, the 4-hitter here, probably going to exercise a little patience, look for something to drive with an RBI opportunity with a man on third.
Now to go down for a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Now McClemens going to have to bring McLeod something here. McLeod probably going to be able to put a good barrel on it.
Toss to first, not in time. That pitch will go down for a strike to even up the count at 2-2.
And from our vantage point, Brett, McLeod, not necessarily a prototypical 4-hitter. We've seen some pretty big guys up there in that 4 hole, but I'm going to trust post 22 to know that this guy probably mashes the baseball, which is why he is where he is in the lineup.
Runners on the corners, 1 away here, top of the first inning, just underway as the runner will go. That one is popped up, foul territory, being tracked down, and got the grab. We'll get a throw to home. There's the out. A beautiful toss. Jurgens tracking that one down, making the out, and then a quick toss to Rylance. What a toss. Take a look at this.
You're going to see Jurgens come over. The throw right on line gives Rylance the opportunity to sit behind the base. That throw takes him straight down into the tag, gets it down before the runner can get in there, and just like that, the threat erased.
We are scoreless as we head to the bottom of the first inning between the Arrows and Rapid City Post 22. This is Post 17 TV.
The best way to get the most out of college is to do the most while you're in it. At Lake Area Tech, you'll learn in living, working environments with hands-on training and real-world experience to prepare for a high-paying career you love right out of school. From the moment you step on campus until you're one of our graduate success stories, when you start something here, you'll get an education you can really put to work and the best return on your investment. Lake Area Tech, the start of something new.
At Active Heating, you could say we specialize in comfort, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, air and water quality. Active Heating is ready. Too hot or too cold? Our certified comfort experts for Coleman Heating and Cooling Equipment can help. Don't let a leak drain your bank account. Our plumbers can handle it. Improve your air and water quality with an air purifier and reverse osmosis system from Active Heating, your local Coleman dealer. Active Heating of Watertown and Brookings, your comfort experts.
Looking for a way to show your school spirit and support.
Talon just tracking that one down on the money. What a toss again here to Rylance, right on the money to end the threat in the first inning.
And Brent, a little bit of an important throw there if you're Coach Neal, because Talon threw a bunch of pitches last night, and I think that's part of why Post 22 probably decided to test him there, is see early on how is Talon's arm feeling after pitching last night over there at first. And he didn't necessarily get super deep away from the plate, but he threw, it wasn't a speedy seed there, but he threw it right on the money to allow Rylance to apply that tag.
Watertown's first three will be Reese, Olson, and Pitkin this afternoon. I want to welcome you inside the booth. I'm Brent Nathaniel. He's Nate Russell. We're glad to have you along here on Post 17 TV. In conjunction this week with Arrow TV. Again, like us here on YouTube, and make sure you like Arrow TV on YouTube. That way you get the best of both worlds. You can watch baseball in the summer and watch the Watertown Arrows all fall and spring and winter long with Arrow TV. So to the plate is Hayden Reese. First pitch fouled into the nets. Declan Mickley is the pitcher here for Rapid City Post 22 on day 3 of the tournament.
A little bit of an interesting start to his windup with his hands above the head. We see a few MLB pitchers. Clayton Kershaw comes to mind where he starts there, but he starts his entire motion there, where for Mickley, he kind of holds it for a second, brings it down, and then starts everything else. 1-1
the count here to Reese. And speaking of MLB, if you're a Twins fan,
it's a tough day.
It's a tough day. That is the polite way of putting it. The very polite way of putting it. And I'm sure as a White Sox fan, you over there, you're laughing at this.
Well, it's not making me sad to watch all of the pieces within the division go, although the Tigers have added a couple now here in the last 10 minutes. But at a 2-1 count here, Reese looking for something to drive. We haven't actually, apart from moving a low-level outfielder, the Sox have pretty much been stagnant.
Mickley fires in. Strike. Makes the count even at 2-2.
From our vantage point up here, that looked like maybe a two-seamer just kind of rode down and in. I think that's part of why Reese held. It looked like it was riding kind of inside, and enough of the corner there for the umpire to call that one.
Ground ball down the third base line, scooped up there by Roberts. Toss across is low and not made in time. Foul ball they're going to call there on the third base line.
And this is one of the advantages to having a 3-man umpire crew. The umpire at third base there right on top of that play. No hesitation. His hands immediately go up. This ball gets just about to the bag and just takes that last hop outside of the bag. So Reese going to have to step back in the box. Obviously wanted to be safe on an error there. He's going to have to earn it, though.
Count remains at 2-2. Mickley steps off. Now tosses in. And that is going to be hit by pitch. So Reese will get on here in the first inning. That'll bring to the plate Mitch Olson.
Really important here for post 17 to get an early start. Last night, going up against Harrisburg, the game got late early. They didn't get a lot of base runners right away. They put together a threat in the sixth, played it a few runs, but by that point, you've kind of used up all of your outs already. So getting guys on early here going to be important. Now, finding ways to move them around is kind of the next step.
You know, it's really important as well when you're playing a team like Post 22 here. Get those runs early. That way you can kind of play with the lead and, you know, just kind of see where this ball game takes you. The one-run game back in June, as that one is scooped up there, and easy outs at first as Reeder just scoops that one up, but advances Reese over to second back. It was one run in the third. That was it in that game number one. At game number two, you could just kind of feel the difference. As you know, Watertown in that game one, losing 1-0. You know, I think Watertown really felt that, you know, we had this ball game, and you come into that second game, you lost, and you could just really feel the air was taken out of the team in that game too, which they lost 7-4.
And it's hard, right? Especially when you have a team that has as many seniors as Watertown does, you play with pressure already in the state tournament, having placed significantly well last year in the state tournament, and now you're playing in front of your home crowd, and that just kind of amplifies things. So hopefully the message from Coach Neal was, hey, we can't play tight. We have to be ready to play, but play with, I'm going to say, a little bit of swagger, a little looseness.
And speaking of looseness and a little bit of swagger, taking third was Reese on the steal. So Watertown now with a man 90 feet away. It's a 1-1 count here to Pitkin.
And I think, too, that's kind of the blueprint for beating Post 22 as well, is getting on them early. We saw that for 320 in game one of the entire tournament as well. 320 got out front, put 22 on their heels, and then they were able to just work from there.
1-2 the count here to Pitkin. Mickley working. He likes to take his time up on the hill a little bit. Now tosses in. Big swing and a miss. Strike number 3. And the second out of the inning. That'll bring to the plate Nathan Briggs, the number 4 batter here for Watertown. With the man 90 feet away, that's Reese.
And I think we'll have to kind of keep an eye on 22's defense. With Mickley's pace, as a defender behind him, sometimes it's really hard to stay engaged in the game. Things aren't moving as quickly as you'd like. You're not seeing the baseball as often as you'd like. And so staying engaged can be a difficult thing. We already saw the potential error from the third baseman on the first.
That one fouled into the backstop. 0-1 for Briggs, the Wayne State recruit. He is going to study criminal justice. Dun dun.
You know, I have never actually seen Law & Order. My parents have watched a ton of it, but I have a feeling Briggs probably going to do something that actually is different than what they show in the show.
Every class I would just walk in and go dun dun. As that one goes down for a ball. 1-1 in the counts.
The other thing that Mickley's pace does, though, as a hitter in the box, you try and get some timing, you try and find some rhythm so that you can get the barrel on time, and when he holds the ball as long as he does, that can be a hard thing to do.
That one goes in the dirt, 2-1.
And if I think back to different MLB players, for example, a guy like Gary Sheffield, a guy like Manny Ramirez, they're ones that the bat was constantly in motion, and the whole purpose of that was to get on time. And against a guy like Mickley, that's a really hard thing to do.
Ground ball, playable, third baseman Roberts, and he'll toss over in time for the final out of the inning. 5-3 putouts. Watertown threatens but can't get the run across. We're off to the second inning, scoreless between 22 and Post 17. This is Post 17 TV.
All in one place, the Come-Outs of Legends tee off on their mini golf course. Race your crew in go-karts and strike up some laughs with mini bowling. Kids love the arcade, and parents, they've got you covered with cold beer and amazing food. And don't forget the cherry on top, SDSU ice cream. It's all happening at Legends, where fun meets flavor. Highway 212, Watertown. Mack Landscaping and Lawn Irrigation was started in 1983 and has developed into the top landscape and lawn irrigation business in the area. And it's not hard to see why. Just take a look at some of the work they've done. No job is too big or too small. Give Shane Mack a call at 605-880-6001 for landscaping, or Wyatt Mack at 605-880-0300 for lawn irrigation or lighting.
They say there's no guarantees in life. But who's they? And do they have Midco Internet? Now there's a guarantee. So let's go. Let's go reliable. Let's go resilient. Let's go beyond.
The 5, 6, and 7 hitters due up here for Rapid City as Morgan takes it a first pitch ball. Clemens at 11 pitches. Keep in mind he pitched about 27 on game 1 coming in relief, so he won't go the full 105 this afternoon. Big swing and a miss. 1-1. But Clemens is one of those players that, you know, pitching-wise, when you have names like Juergens and you have names like Rylance, he's really stepped into that number 3 role, very willing to be that number 3 guy, willing to come in as well and be that relief pitcher too. That's going to be sent into center field, drops down for a base hit, and Rapid City gets a man on here in the second inning.
Really good piece of hitting there. Get up in the count, 2-1 count. You get a fastball to hit, and he's able to get on time, hit that thing right back to center field there on a line. So for Moreland, you get the leadoff hit. Now you got to find a way to get moved around. McClemens was able to work around that in the first inning. Let's see if he can do that again here in the second.
Dawson Inhofer to the plate, the Iowa Central Community College recruit. Big swing and a miss for a strike.
Dangerous spot to live there. Probably not where McClemens wants to keep pitching Inhofer here, but gets up 0-1.
That one goes low. 1-1.
So far, the Hard Hats not willing to put anybody in motion from first base, looking to see if they can just bat the guy over.
Strike. Nice pitch there by McClemens. 1-2.
Yeah, a little off-speed pitch, just gets over, gets himself back ahead in the count. If you're Inhofer, you're just looking to fight something off, see if you can get a single out there.
That is a ground ball into the gap, right field, base hit, and there's 2 on once again here for the Hard Hats. To the plate now is Josh Elder.
For Inhofer there, like I just said, you look for something that you can just find a hole, find a gap somewhere, shoots it past him right there, unable to slide over. The good news for McClemens, it's a couple of singles. It's just station to station right now. These are things that you can work through. Now, the thing that Harrisburg did last night is they started hitting the ball harder, and if you're McClemens, you have to find a way to keep the contact soft.
Bunch shown, pulled back, ball to call. 1-0 here to Elder.
Here in the 7, 8, 9 part of the lineup, this might actually end up being a bunt.
That one called foul. 1-1.
And if you're Elder there, that's the art of bunting. What we describe as coaches is catching the baseball. And if you watched Elder's hands there, he actually stabbed at that ball, more of a drag bunt, bunting for a hit style than it was an actual sacrifice.
1-2 as that one goes for a strike.
You saw Elder pull back there. He was thinking that pitch was going to be called a ball. Now he's behind. Now he's got to swing it.
And that's going to go off of a leg, and the Hard Hats have loaded him up here in the second inning with nobody out. Morgan will slide to third. Inhofer to second. Elder on first. Carter Johnson to the plate now for Rapid 22.
For post 17, this is the part of the lineup where you need to attack and find your outs. For McClemens, bases loaded, no outs is a tough spot to be.
First pitch fouled off. 0-1 to Johnson, the Iowa Lakes Community College recruits.
We got Central Iowa Community College, Iowa Lakes Community College.
Well, a lot of these kids for Rapid 22 are going to colleges that are, out west that I haven't heard of before. Williston State College, Dodge City Community College. Rippentroff's going to Dodge City. Steen and Frederickson, Williston State, Iowa Central. That's where Johnson and Inhofer are going. Roberts going to Garden City Community College. So, they're getting their kids to college here for this on this 22 team. Big swing and a miss for a strike, and Johnson will strike out swinging. The first out of the inning. To the plate now is Blaine Hunt.
Yeah, just because I've never heard of them. I mean, they're playing more college ball than I did at that point. My best friend was a pitcher. He got to go play college ball. I ended up not being recruited as a catcher. Unfortunately, I thought, we had a deal, but didn't pan out that way.
First pitch for Hunt's going to go into the gap, left field. That's going to score one. And Rapid City gets on the board with an RBI single by Hunt.
Hunt in the box, ready to hunt. A fastball there, gets it, hits it the other way, just past Reese, and finds himself an RBI. The Hard Hats up 1-0 early. If you're McClemens, you got to find a way to minimize this.
And now Rylance going to come out, and also Coach Geffrey going to come out and chat with McClemens here real quick. No, not a bad call. McClemens, kind of a younger pitcher. Might have to come out there and just, find out what you're going to do and settle his nerves a little bit.
Some of it's settling the nerves. I mean, the Hard Hats have 3 hits so far this inning. Some of this is just getting their eyes off of the baseball a little bit. I've made a number of these visits where I go out there and the only message I have is just, I'm helping you relax and rest a little bit, but I'm also getting their eyes off of the baseball, so maybe they stop seeing it quite so well. So we'll see if it has the desired effect here.
Back up to the top of the order. Second time through the order, Aiden Roberts will take it a first pitch for a strike. Aiden Roberts going to Garden City Community College to play some ball. Sent over into right field, going to drop down for a base hit, and that's going to be trouble. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score. It is a 2 RBI double by Aiden Roberts. Scoring Inhofer, scoring Elder. It's a 3-run inning for the Hard Hats.
And Roberts does a good job putting that down the right-hand side there, down the line and right. Gives the opportunity for a couple of guys to come around. I kind of thought that Hunt might also go, that relay not getting in right away, as Olsen had to get over and chase it.
As that one for Kiefer is popped up and out of here. Home run for Lars Kiefer. And what do you say after that one? That is just a shot and a statement for Rapid City Post 22. 6-0 our score.
Well, if you're Coach Neal, the message is baseball's a long game, and we said that last night, right? The trouble was, for as well as Harrisburg is playing, that doesn't pan out as well. Post 22, this was the danger. Like they talked about in the pregame, we kind of had that feeling they probably were going to get woke up a little bit after not coming out the way they wanted to in game 1. If you're post 17, 6 runs, you've scored more than 6 in games before. This is a really high quality team, so the task is going to be tall, but you can't back down. You have to come to fight.
And I think that is probably the important thing. You're only in the second inning. You can't give up. You have to fight. You're in the elimination game. You want to play some more baseball. You're at home. You have to fight for this one as Wyatt Reeder takes in a first pitch ball. Second one goes down for ball 2. Ball 3. That one clips the corner for a strike.
Looks like McClellan's picking up his pace a little bit here, maybe hoping to work himself into a rhythm.
Ball 4, so base on balls. And the 9th batter to come to the plate now for Rapid 22 is McLeod.
And you can't go talk to him again. You've already been out there once if you're Coach Geffrey. So for Coach Neal, the bullpen is active. I am going to take a stab and say that might be Carter Bisker. Hard to tell from where we are. I did not bring my binoculars, but your choice is either you are coming to get him, and it looks like that's what Coach Neal's going to do here, or you let him try and ride it out.
So this one might be it here for McClemens at 35 pitches, and it is, as Watertown's going to go to their bullpen here in the seconds. It's not a bad call. You're in the elimination game. You know, McClemens not quite feeling it up on the hill, and it happens. You know, get to that bullpen and see what those arms can do.
Yep, that's the hard part about an elimination game is you kind of have to go with your gut on when is the right time to push the buttons, when's the right time to pull the levers, and I have to agree with Coach Neal on this one.
Yeah.
McClemens hadn't really shown any signs of being able to figure it out, continuing to spray around the zone, which was only going to give him more trouble. So probably a good choice here by Coach Neal. If you're Rapid City, that was exactly the thing you were aiming to do, right? You came out hot and fast, and then you got into the bullpen almost immediately.
New pitcher will be Max Dilla. So Dilla will step in, the senior. Dilla is one of the 8 seniors that is moving on here from this Watertown team. Max not going to play baseball because he's going to SDSU Honors College for applied mathematics. And I'm sure baseball is a perfect game for if you're a math guy. Baseball is the perfect game to play for that.
There's a lot of different ways that math is applied in the world. In baseball, we see probably some of the most, right? We went from having just basic statistics like average and on-base percentage, and then we saw that grow into some of the more sabermetrics kind of things like OPS and WHIP, and now the number of metrics that we have that we can lean on as far as math is concerned to just tell us more about the game is absolutely crazy.
Top of the second inning. It's been a big inning here for Rapid 22. 6 runs, including a 3-run homer by Lars Kiefer, as the Hard Hats make it a statement here in this game. And if you're Rapid 22, you end up losing to your cross parking lot rival to begin. And so far for 22, they have come out and made statements. They came out yesterday. Brandon Valley tried to win that ball game, but they held strong. But here, making a statement against Post 17 on their home turf.
And if you're Post 17, that's the thing you have to lean on, right? Is just yesterday alone, Brandon Valley showed that Post 22 not necessarily great at closing games out at times, and so while the mountain is steep, it's not necessarily insurmountable.
And we've seen bigger comebacks this year from this Watertown team as well. So Kane McLeod will step to the batter's box, 1 away, top of the second inning, 6-0 Hard Hats. Dilla fires in a first pitch, down for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes, and on first is Reeder. He reached there on a base on balls. Missed a moment ago.
Tough spot to be in for Dilla to inherit the runner as well. So trying to do McClemens a favor and make sure that guy doesn't find his way around the bases too.
That one goes for a strike, counted 1-1. Strike there, 1 and 2.
And we can see here Mickley kind of down in front of us. working on some bands here, just trying to stay loose. Really extended inning here. So as a pitcher, that's a tough place to be because you really love the run support, but you also got loose, and now you haven't thrown a pitch in a little while.
2-2 the count here to McLeod. That one's fouled into the backstop. Count remains at 2-2.
That pitch a little bit high. I think if you're Dilla, you want to live something low here. Try and get a ground ball. Hopefully that was a setup pitch. Try and get something rolled over. Get back in the dugout here.
That one's going to take a hop, and Cato covers that one, and heading off to second will be Reeder.
And that pitch catching a lot of Cato. You can see him in some pain. That's the hard part about being a catcher is you do everything you can to get your body in front of it. And sometimes it catches not great parts of your body.
And we saw it earlier in the year. Max Dilla, he got a ball to a not a nice place, we'll say it. And it was about 5 minutes before he was able to stand up and continue to go on. More action going on in the Watertown bullpen as we speak.
Dilla, kind of the rubber band man, if you will, for Coach Neal. Comes in, throws innings when he needs to, works on getting outs and pitching strikes. But I have a feeling, given the track record so far this season, Max is coming in here as a stopgap. And the plan is to go somewhere else to try and get longevity. It's only the second inning. There are still, theoretically, 5 innings left to throw here yet.
Cato stands up, says I'm good. Coach Neal walks back to the dugouts, and we're going to be ready to play some baseball as Dilla playing catch there with Hemrick, try to keep himself loose.
Tough spot for Rylance there because you want to get going, you want to get the adrenaline moving again, but also your body's going, hold up, wait a second.
That one is popped up left field. Hansen tracking it down nearly at the fence, grabbing it, tag applied, and reaching third will be Reeder.
Good piece of hitting there by McLeod to get that ball driven deep. Definitely deep enough to get Reeder into third base relatively easy. Watertown appeals to second base, trying to see if Reeder had left early. However, the umpire's saying a legal tag up.
We've officially batted around the order. It's Jace Morgan now here for Rapid City.
Now I gotta slide all of my inning columns over.
That's what I was doing too. First pitch goes down for a ball. Popped up, foul territory. Reese coming to tracking this one down, grabs it for the final out of the inning. Rapid City puts 6 across the plate in a big top of the second inning. We're off to the bottom of the second inning. This is Post 17 TV.
In town for the game or just passing through? Well, swing by Country Road Barn, home of the area's best smoked meats, brisket, ribs, pulled pork, all slow smoked to perfection and served with that small town charm. They're open Wednesday through Friday, 5 until 9 p.m., so plan your visit and bring your appetite. It's a true taste of small town South Dakota and worth every mile. The Country Road Barn, just minutes from Watertown and a home run for your hunger. Stay connected with them on their Facebook page or website.
As one of the nation's strongest financial organizations, First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card have the strength to do good. We support nearly 700 organizations and nonprofits. Our employees give more than 30,000 volunteer hours annually. And we are continually seeking ways to make South Dakota an even better place to live. It's the Premier way. First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card.
Bottom of the second inning, 6-0 Rapid City as Watertown will bring to the plate Rylance, Lake, and Hemerick. First pitch into Rylance. That is going to be smacked into center field. That's the way the Arrows wanted to start this inning, with a Cato single.
And if you're post 17, that's exactly the thing that needs to happen. Rylance there swinging for a line drive. He's not trying to do too much. You're not going to get 6 runs in a single swing of the bat, especially with nobody on. And so just find a way to get on base, and then you don't have to get everything this inning. Just chip away. 1 run, 2 runs.
Jonathan Lake to the plate. First pitch goes down for a ball.
And if you're post 22, you pitch with a lead, and it's a hard thing to do if you're Mickley, is be okay with contact, but really, as long as it's singles, you have 6 runs to play with here. You can attack the zone, and if post 17 happens to hit the ball around a little bit, you're working with a few that you can give.
2-0 the counts to Lake, the DH here for the Arrows. Big swing and a miss, 2-1.
Lake pulling the hands in there, trying to get around on an inside pitch. Comes up empty on a 2-0 count. He got a pitch to probably hit and just missed it that time.
That pitch goes down for a ball, 3-1, with Trayton Hemerick due up next here for Watertown.
If you're Lake, you have to still have a hitter's mindset. If that fastball's right there, you got to be ready. But ball 4 doesn't hurt you. You need base runners at this point.
Mickley fires in, and that one's going to be popped up over into right field along the foul territory and goes in to the batting cages. Makes the count full now at 3-2.
That time Lake ready to hit, just a little tardy on the fastball, fouls it off, so hopefully he can find a way to fight. Now you have to shorten the swing. You're not looking to drive it, you're looking to get contact, get something through the infield if possible.
Three-two pitch. That's ball 4, and there's 2 on here for Watertown. Rylance slides to second, Lake at first. Trayton Hemerick will step to the batter's box now for the Arrows.
And if I go back to my book from last night, Trayton had a few balls that were well stung, didn't necessarily come up with the results. He had a single in the second, and then he had that reach on error, and then he flew out to left field. So Hemerick, so far this tournament, having a good set of ABs. Hopefully that continues if you're the Arrows.
That's going to be in the dirt. Elder blocks, keeping everybody on back. What a no the count.
Good piece of blocking there by Elder to make sure nobody advances and you smother that thing.
Fouled into the backstop. 1-1.
And a lot of people watch baseball and they go, how does a catcher not block a baseball, right? Sometimes it's about where the pitch is thrown. There are a lot of guys that it's hard to react to a pitch that's thrown in the dirt and you have to block. A lot of guys will miss that block and then go, I should have put my body down. It's another thing to actually do it in the moment.
Strike. 1-2 to Hemerick. Nobody out. 2 on here, bottom of the second inning. Hard Hats lead 6-0.
If you're Hemerick, you don't want to expand too much to help Mickley here, but you have to defend yourself. If you're Mickley, throwing something off the edges, see if you can get Hemerick to expand is a good place to be.
That one's going to go in the dirt. We'll get a throw to second, sliding in safely are the runners. Hemerick will strike out and be the first out of the inning, but the runners slide over as a great slide there just in time by Lake to get into the second bag.
And that pitch right there gets Himrick fishing, but it also brings up the interesting discussion between wild pitch or pass ball. The part that was most interesting to me there, Elder did a good job of smothering it. He chooses to send that ball down to second base. I think he felt like Rylance had already attained third, and so trying to get the trail runner there.
Talon Juergens to the plate here for Watertown. Takes the first pitch, strike.
And that throw by Elder there is the kind of thing, when you have a lead, you can't necessarily start a snowball fight in the infield. Sometimes you have to eat that play and just live with it.
Low, 1-1. Time is called.
One out here. Juergens can get something to the outfield to potentially get a run in.
One's low, 2-1. Talon going to go to DSU to study computer science this fall.
My wife a DSU alum, so go Trojans. They, between computer science and their education program, are well known for that.
That one's low, 3-1 to Talon. Cole Hansen due up next here for Watertown.
And if you're Juergens, you're well ahead in the count here. You're looking for something that you can at least try and chase one of the hard hat outfielders back on here. If you're the hard hats, you have to secure the out. The RBI doesn't really mean a lot. You go up 6-1 at that point, and so you have to secure the outs when you can get them.
Quick mound visit there. Elder Mickley chatting about this one. 3-1 the count. Here's the toss. That's going to be ball 4, and the Arrows have loaded them up. Talon reaching with the base on balls. Rylance on third, Lake on second, Juergens on first, and here comes the number 9 hitter in Cole Hansen. As we'll have another mound visit here, this time for 22.
And this is the kind of thing that I talked about. We saw Mickley down there working with the bands a little bit. When you get an extended inning like that, it can be hard to come out and heat it up again then. And I think with the number of pitches that he's kind of sprayed around, Himrick did Mickley a little bit of a favor going and expanding his zone a little bit. I don't blame Himrick there. It was a decent at bat. At some point you do have to defend yourself. So if you are post 22 and you're coach Torvey, you have to go out there and just settle Mickley in. This is the kind of thing with a 6-0 lead that you can't do. You can't just start issuing free passes. You can't not live in the zone. You can afford to give up a run, 2, 3 here as you pitch with the lead. But what you can't do is get runners on that don't have the opportunity to be defended.
Hansen steps into the box. Mound visits complete. First pitch. That's going to go low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes to Hansen.
Mickley here having a hard time finding balance and getting down the mound with his release point from the stretch. So the Arrows doing a good job of making sure they get runners on and getting Mickley out of his comfort zone.
Low once again. 2-0 to Hansen. We'll go back up to the top of the order after this, and Hayden Reese still just 1 away here in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
And it looks like 22 following a similar path. They've got number 29 Rippentrop warming in the pen. So like we talked about before the game, Rippentrop, the man that was able to hold 17 down the first time around.
3-0 the count. Rippentrop warming quickly as well, as I might add.
Yep, the 22 coach looking down before ball 3 had even been thrown. I think he's looking to avoid the same fate that Juergens ran into here.
Bunt shown, pulled back, ball the call, and that's ball 4. That's going to walk it a run, and the Arrows get on the board here in the 2nd inning as Rylance will touch home. Back up to the top of the order, second time through the order. It's Hayden Reese. Still bags are juiced here for the Arrows.
Now it looks like they're going to send for Rippentrop already as a 22 hard hat jogging down.
Well, they're going to go. Mickley is going to continue up on the hill. First pitch, that's going to be fouled off. 0-1 here to Reese, who was hit by the pitch to lead off the ball game.
And this is a spot, every hitter approaches their at-bat slightly different. If I was Hayden Reese, I probably would have been a little patient there. Even if that ball was there, you just watch 4 straight balls to Hansen, a 5-pitch walk to Juergens. Make him throw you something that he has earned before you get the bat off your shoulder.
1-1 the count here to Reese. Mitch Olson due up next here for the Arrows. That is going to be sent foul into the parking lot. 1-2 the count now to Reese.
Now if you're Reese, you have to shorten up a little bit. You're looking to punch something through. The middle infielders for 22 playing in double play depth makes sense. Up 6-1, they're going to try and trade 1 run for 2 outs.
That one goes low to make it even at 2-2.
And I apologize, I misspoke there. If they can get a double play here, that ends the inning. So they're going to look to try and roll that in the middle. But that does leave gaps open between short and third and first and second if you're Reese.
Popped up, goes foul. 2-2 to Reese.
One thing I am seeing here from Hayden, a lot of these balls he's fouling off, he's seeing the ball deep. The other thing though too is he's popping them up a little bit. He's getting underneath the baseball, especially in this situation. You'd like to see something more middle or on top of the baseball. Make post 22 have to defend it here.
That's going to go high and fill up the counts at 3-2. Three walks issued so far in this inning. 3-2 pitch. Fouled into the nets. Count still remains 3-2, and there goes the fastest bad boy in the West, Phoenix Thomas. We had a good KXLG Inside the Game with him. You can find that if you want to watch it on Watertown Post 17 social media. 3-2. Ball 4, going to walk in another run. 6-2. Hard Hat still with the lead, but the Arrows will take the run where they can. Bags are still juiced, and here comes Mitch Olson. And are they going to send for Rippentrop? And they will. So that'll be the end of Mickley's day. So both pitchers now have been pulled. Mickley's line will go like this: an inning and a third, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned, 2 strikeouts, and 3 walks. By the way, McClemens went an inning and a third, 7 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, 1 strikeout, and 1 walk. So Rippentrop will step into that batter's box now here for, step onto the hill for Rapid City Post 22.
And if you're Rippentrop, this is kind of a tough spot to be because you probably knew the plan was to go to you at some point during this game. But I imagine this is incredibly early compared to what you were expecting. And take nothing away from Mickley. He had a pretty clean first inning. He started out not bad here in the second, and then things started to kind of unravel. So for Coach Torvey, I think not a bad decision. Try and stop the bleeding where you can. But it's going to be interesting to see here if Rippentrop comes in firing strikes, given that it probably is a lot earlier than he thought he was going to have to come in.
Rippentrop, the Dodge City Community College recruits, will step in here at the bottom of the second inning with a 6-2 lead, 1 away, but Watertown has the bags loaded with Juergens at third, Hansen at second, and Reese at first. This is one of those situations. You're in the elimination game. You got to throw it all out there. It doesn't matter what it is. You got to throw it out there and see what sticks.
And you manage this situation obviously different than yesterday's game where you could afford a loss. But the other thing about this is there is no, okay, he can come back later. With the number of pitches that these guys threw in that first inning and 2/3 inning and a third, their day is done. And you're also not having to manage the next guy that comes in and how many pitches he throws. And so you're trying to make sure if you advance, you still have bullets to shoot. But at the same time, like you said, Brent, this is win or go home. If you don't win this game, there's no opportunity to pitch anybody else.
Infinity Fun high five cam, the fan cam going on. A nice crowd here at Watertown Stadium. Thanks to Infinity Fun for providing us our fan cam here at Watertown Stadium. A nice jumbotron here at the stadium too for all those folks sitting over there. Not quite a Tuesday night crowd where we had 1,300 people here for a baseball game on Tuesday nights, but still a respectable crowd here to cheer on their Arrows.
I think the 4 p.m. start probably plays a little bit into that. Now, we did them a favor if you're Yankton and Renner by getting that game extended, a little bit of extra time to get here, but I think we'll see some more people continue to trickle in as the workday gets done.
Mitch Olson to the plates now. Rippentrop will fire in a first pitch. Goes down for a strike. 0-1 to Mitch Olson.
And if you're Rippentrop, that's the start you need. Work ahead now. If you're Olson, this is the guy you want at the plate if you're Coach Neal.
That's going to take a hop, get past Elder. He can't find it. A run's going to score. It's 6-3 now. 22 still with the lead, but Watertown sends a third run past the home plate here in the second.
And a wild pitch there. That pitch in the dirt. Elder tried to block it. It kicks off the knee guard there and goes all the way over to the concrete. Has a hard time finding it immediately. That's the worst as a catcher. You know you got the thing with your body, but you have no idea where it went.
Ground ball scooped up there by Hunt. He'll make the out over at first, but it's going to be an RBI charged here. Olson will get the RBI, sending in Hansen. 6-4. Arrows chop it away at that 22 lead.
And not only does Olson end up with the RBI there, but it actually doubles as a way to move over Reese from second to third as well. So the fifth run now only 90 feet away.
Pitkin will take in a first pitch for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes here to Marcus Pitkin. That one goes low, 2-0.
And if you're Watertown, Rippentrop coming in here, yes, he pitched one heck of a game the first time around, but you got ABs against him. You've seen it come from his hand before. You've seen the shape of his pitches.
That one going to get past Elder once again. We're going to get a play at home, and it's out. Trying to grab that one. Coming in was Reese trying to get that run, but a nice grab there. Elder tossing it to Rippentrop. Rippentrop gets it down and makes the out of Reese. But Watertown sends 4 through and still trails, though, Rapid City 6-4. We're off to the third. This is Post 17 TV.
Glacier Lakes Power Sports and Golf is your indoor golf destination in Watertown, South Dakota. We have 4 golf simulators available to rent 7 days a week. Call us at 605-954-4080 to reserve your time or visit our website at glpowersports.com.
Infinity Fun is the place to be. They got trampolines, they got bowling, they got mini golf, they got games, they got food that's insanely good. Infinity Fun, they got trampolines, they got bowling, they got mini golf, they got games, they got food that's insanely good. Infinity Fun.
Open 7 days a week in Watertown.
Your
your starting lineup for KXLG Radio. Leading off at the front desk, Lori Kane. On the air, your power hitters, Jeremy Herbold, Ben Dilla, Jan Robson, Tim Williams, Gary Weckworth, Robin Givens, Doreen Foster, and Jaden Thomas. If it's news, Steve Jurens hits it out of the park. In sales, your closers, Andy Turback, Ben Dilla, Nicole Kraus, and Brody Reese. And skipper, Melissa Herbold. KXLG, your locally owned community radio station, still undefeated.
New pitcher for Watertown is Carter Bisker. Not a surprise there, Nate. He kind of their long relief guy.
Yeah, we saw him start warming while Dilla was on the mound, and that's kind of what I referenced. Dilla's kind of that stopgap for Coach Neal, where you need a guy to come in, throw it into the zone, and work to get some outs. But like you said, Bisker kind of the long guy here, and if you're going to make it through the rest of this game, you need somebody that's going to give you longevity. You can't really afford to throw 5 guys at this thing.
So Dilla will be marked down as 2/3 of an inning pitched. First 3 for Rapid City will be Inhofer, Elder, and Johnson.
And if you're Bisker, back down to the 7, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 8, 9. And so this is the spot to come in, get in a groove, try and get your outs very quickly. And after the inning your offense just had, get them back into the box.
Bunt shown. It's going to be pulled back. Ball is the call. Appeal to first. Ball still the call.
And that's a tough one as a fan because you go, the bat's still out there. He has to actually make an attempt to strike at the ball. So he doesn't have to pull that bat back in order for that to be considered a strike. It has to be him making an actual effort to strike at the ball.
2-0 the count here to Inhofer. Strike. 2-1.
I'm a little surprised Inhofer not ready to jump on that fastball after getting into a 2-0 count.
Strike the call again. 2-2. Inhofer, the Iowa Central Community College recruits. Here's a fun fact. Ties his shoes right to left. And he'll swing and a miss at that one for a strike. Strike number 3. And the first out of the inning. To the plate is Josh Elder.
So ties his shoes left to right. Is that something you personally got from him, or is that something you got as a tidbit?
That is something he put down as a superstition, if you will. He has to tie his shoes right to left. Excuse me. Tie his shoes right to left.
I can only assume then that he means he ties his right shoe first every time and left shoe second every time, because otherwise I'm not sure what tying your shoes right to left even means.
First, it's a 2-0 count here to Elder. Fouled away. 2-1.
That a hot shot getting out of the stadium. If you parked right behind the wall here, you hope you got snug enough.
I hope nobody parked there. That is driven into center field. Going to drop down for a base hit, and Rapid City will get a man on here in the third. He's going to try for 2 as that one kind of rolled past Pitkin. He'll slide in. We had a close play at seconds. Here's the replay. Ground ball. Here's the slide. He's out. That note.
The tough part we're going to have here, Brent, is it's hard to tell when his foot makes contact with the bag. In live action, it looked like he kind of hesitated that slide because the ball had beat him, and the umpire standing on top of that play, it looks like that slide kind of gets around the tag, where Himrick and Briggs are expecting that slide to come straight in. He slides a little bit to the side to end up safe.
Carter Johnson to the plates now here for Rapid City. As an 0-1 counts.
I'm not sure how the official scoring on that went down. I'm going to mark that as a double. While the ball got past Pitkin, it didn't look like he touched it and muffed it at all. It just was misjudged.
That pitch going to go down for a ball. They are going to charge an error. They'll have it as a single and then an error charge to Pitkin. Strike the call there.
I'm not going to call that an unreasonable error. Like I said, from where we were, it didn't look like he touched it at all. But if he had touched that, that becomes pretty much an automatic E at that point.
That one got past Rylance and will get a throw to third. Will not be in time as Elder will take third. So another run for Rapid City, 90 feet away with one away, top of the third inning. Infield going to come play in here. 2-2 the counts. That one's going to be fouled into the nets. Count is still at 2-2.
As a coach, I understand the theory of drawing your infield in here. I will say throughout this tournament, I can't think of a time where the infield being drawn in has actually had the intended result. Most of the time, the hitters have actually found ways to get the ball past. I can think of one other instance besides this play here. Great play by Briggs. I'm going to apologize to the 22 hard hats. Apparently, the announcers jinx in play. Obviously, I am not the Legion coach, so I know less about that situation, clearly. But watching the rest of this tournament, that's only the second time I can think of where it actually is played out that way.
And we'll take it. 2 away. Here's Blaine Hunt. Rapid City still with Elder, 90 feet away. First pitch fouled off, 0-1.
And if you're Bisker, I think it's important that you get Hunt here one way or another without allowing Elder is the best case scenario. But the last thing you want to do is roll this lineup over, and you want to face it fresh at the top with no runners on.
Fouled off again. No, they're going to say he's out. Was that called fair? I believe that was called fair.
So the home plate umpire, the ball goes down. He's going to say that it didn't make contact with the hitter in the box. There's going to be a discussion. They have the opportunity to go down and discuss this. The first base umpire is the one that's going to be able to help with this. And they're going to discuss it. And they're going to bring over the third base umpire just in case. They're going to talk about it. They have the opportunity to kill this and call it a foul ball if they did see it hit him in the box. It did come out kind of funny, so I wouldn't be surprised if it did get him in the foot or something like that. But I think that's a really good piece of officiating there to let that play out, and then we can go back and call it a foul ball if necessary.
And it did look like it got him there. Yeah, it did look like it was one more look at it. Interesting. Kind of a close call there. Watertown will take it, getting out of the third inning, trailing Rapid City 6-4. This is Post 17 TV.
Midwest Foam and Coatings LLC is a family-owned and operated full-service insulation company specializing in spray foam application and energy efficiency. They offer all types of insulation like spray foam, blown-in cellulose, blown-in fiberglass, and fiberglass bats. Midwest Foam and Coatings also does insulation removal along with specialty coating that can restore rubber and metal roof systems. Visit their website for more information at mwfoam.com. Good luck to the Watertown Post 17 baseball team from Midwest Foam and Coatings.
Between working on our farm and being a surgical nurse here at Prairie Lakes for 43 years, my shoulders have been through a lot. I needed a different kind of surgery. It's called a reverse total shoulder replacement. Different shoulders are different. With surgeons like Dr. Johnston here in Watertown, I didn't need a different city, just a different plan.
Prairie Lakes Healthcare System. Your health, our mission.
In the heart of South Dakota, where community and traditions thrive, ReliaBank has been a trusted presence for over a century. From our humble beginnings in 1920, we've grown alongside our communities, committed to financial success and community betterment. At ReliaBank, hometown customer service isn't just a promise, it's our legacy. Your success is our success, so let's keep growing together. Today, tomorrow, and for the next 100 years. Experience banking where hometown value.
Pitkin, Briggs, and Rylance due up for the Arrows in the bottom of the third inning, trailing the Hard Hats 6-4. First pitch goes into the backstop. 1-0 the counts.
And for Pitkin, you get the blessing. You were up 2-0, so you were already ahead in the count, but you get the blessing of a fresh count here coming into this inning.
Strike. 1-1 to Pitkin.
Little sinker or two-seamer there, kind of riding in. Froze Pitkin.
Strike the call. 1-2.
Now Pitkin going to have to battle here. Find a way, any way on. You need base runners.
Big swing and a miss. Strike number 3. And the first out of the inning. Nathan Briggs will step to the plate now here for the Arrows.
That time Pitkin just a little bit out in front of that. The barrel gets in front of his hands, not able to make contact and spoil it for another pitch, so he'll go have a seat and Briggs will step in.
First pitch goes down for a strike. 0-1 to here to Briggs.
And this is the thing, if you're post 22, you need Rippentrop to get in a rhythm here and start going to work.
Strike the call. 0-2, and if he really does feel like Rippentrop at 11 pitches starting to find his groove out there. Fouled off, count is still 0-2.
That pitch fouled off by Briggs, gets a whole lot of Elder, knocking the mask off and everything. Rippentrop says, Elder's a tough guy, let's get back on the mound here. No breather.
Outside, 1-2.
Sometimes as a catcher you get one like that, you'd rather they just get up there and pitch so you can move on from it.
Delivers that one into center, grabbed there by Kiefer. Second out of the inning. To the plates is now Caden Rylance.
Just a soft fly ball there from Briggs. Got a little under it. It looked like it was a off-speed pitch. He just dropped the hands a little bit too far.
First pitch goes outside for a ball into Rylance. Rylance a single at his last at-bat in the second.
And that was what led off last inning's fireworks.
Outside again, 2-0 as Rippentrop trying to pitch away from Rylance, trying to get him to chase.
Not a bad idea to try and pitch around Rylance here with Lake in the DH hole up next.
3-0 to Rylance.
You know Rylance can do some damage here. Pitching around him, seeing if he'll get himself out, not necessarily a bad strategy. Nobody on, he can't hurt you by being on the bases at this point.
And that is a 4-pitch walk, and Rylance will reach for the second time. And we play on with 2 outs to the DH now, Jonathan Lake.
If you're Rippentrop, the thing that can't happen here is this can't escalate further, kind of like it did on Mickley, where things continued to get out of hand. If you're Rippentrop, I think he's got a little bit more control here, and I think he'll find a way to work.
That one's going to go low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes to Lake. Reached on a base on balls back in the second. That's going to go outside for a ball.
Brent, I told you about this on Tuesday. Texas A&M are the ones that made this famous. The student section coming to life here. Elder going to go out and try and settle Rippentrop in and tell him, hey, you got to block these guys out. Obviously, the student section, for every additional ball that gets thrown, they feel like they're having the desired effect.
2-0 the count here to Lake. And 3-0 the counts. Now to Lake. If we play on, it'll be Trayton Hemerick.
It looks like the hard hat's going to activate the bullpen again. This time number 15 Skylar Montgomery. And if you're Rippentrop, this is the thing that can't happen. You can't let it escalate like this with walks.
So 2 on for Watertown with 2 away. Trayton Hemerick will step to the plate, and now we are going to get a mound visit here for Rapid City. What are you talking about with your pitcher as you head out to the mound?
Number one, you got to find the target. When a pitcher gets into a rhythm like this, a lot of times what's happening is that guy's up there going, I don't see the point at which I'm trying to hit. And so the discussion is the target needs to get real small. And the other thing is you just got to get the focus back sharp here. Once you start to lose the zone as a pitcher, it's really hard to then lock onto a spot. And at that point, a lot of guys will get up there and they just start throwing the ball at the catcher instead of to the catcher.
There you get the 2 shots. Arrow student section. Trayton Hemerick to the batter's box. First pitch goes down for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes here to Hemerick.
If you're Hemerick, you have to be extremely patient here. Don't give Rippentrop anything he hasn't earned. Make him throw the actual strike.
Strike the call, 1-1.
Now if you're Hemerick, you stay a little bit patient, but now you're in a hitter's mentality. If it's there, crush a fastball if possible.
That is a grounder, bobbled by Inhofer, tossed over in time. Yeah, the out is going to be recorded there to Reeder as Hemerick trying to run that one out. Here's the replay on this one. Grab that, no, bobbled by Inhofer. And then that one takes a bounce. Grabbed there by Reeder as we have a bit of a collision over on first, and the out is recorded. Watertown strands 2 on bag. We're off to the 4th, 6-4 Rapid City. This is Post 17 TV.
Stop into Roy's Sports Shop for the newest and latest apparel, footwear, and equipment for your sports. Whether it's a new bat from Marucci, a glove from Rawlings, a new pair of shoes from Under Armour or Adidas, or a pair of Oakley sunglasses, Roy's Sports Shop has what you need. Check out their online spirit store for apparel from your favorite team or school. Let them know if you'd like to start a new online store for your team or organization. Roy's Sports Shop is a local business that has served our area for the past 50 years. Roy's Sports Shop, East Highway 212, Watertown.
Whether you're cheering on your team from across the state or across the country, just know right here in Watertown, Sharp Automotive is driving hometown pride forward. From new Chevys and GMCs to trusted service and parts, Sharp Automotive is proud to support South Dakota Legion Baseball in the next generation of hometown heroes. Shop online anytime at sharpgm.com. We'll be here when you're ready. Sharp Automotive, driven to serve and proud to support all baseball fans.
Roberts, Kiefer, and Reeder, the top of the order for Rapid City Post 22, beginning of the top of the 4th inning. We'll have KXLG inside the game between the 2 half innings. We'll go inside the game with Jeremy Herbold, so stick around for that. Here, middle of the 4th, KXLG inside the game. If you want to check out some of the previous inside the games, we've got them up on the Watertown Post 17 social media. Post 17 Baseball on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Make sure you like as well. Post 17 TV here on YouTube. That way you know when we go live all summer long for Post 17 Baseball. As that one is delivered over into right center field. Going to drop down for a base hit. Roberts, he's going to try for 2 and gets there in time. A leadoff double for Roberts here in the 4th inning. While we get a moment, not only should you like Post 17 TV, you should also like Arrow TV on YouTube as well. Make sure you like and subscribe there. That way you know when they go live every fall, winter, basketball and football and everything Watertown Arrow related.
Good lead off there by Roberts, gets that ball into the right center gap. Olsen gets over relatively quick, bobbles it on the exchange, allows Roberts to advance over to second. So if you're Bisker, you got to find a way to minimize here. And if you're the Hard Hats, after the stressful last couple of innings, this is right where you want to be.
First pitch into Kiefer goes down for a ball. Strike the call. 1-1. Bisker had 18 pitches coming into this inning, and his relief appearance, the third pitcher Watertown has seen so far this afternoon. That one's going to get behind Cato, and everything's going to slide over as Roberts will head to third on the wild pitch.
And it looked like Cato, and I should say sounded also like Cato, maybe got a piece of that, but that one finding a way through the 5-hole and getting all the way to the backstop. So Roberts just 90 feet away now. Something hard to the outfield by Kiefer, probably pushing a run across.
2-1. 3-1 the count. Popped up. Cato catches it. In foul territory. First out of the inning.
Good job by Bisker there, getting that pitch in on the hands, getting Kiefer to pop that one up. Good pop by Rylance as well. Not necessarily the advised way to catch it by trying to kind of underhand it and trap it. You'd love to see him get the ball up above his head, but trying to make sure any way he can secure the out to help his pitcher.
Wyatt Reeder to the plate. Sticks in a first pitch, first strike. 0-1 here to Reeder.
I think Bisker and Rylance not necessarily on the same page there. The strike goes in, but there was a little discussion on maybe the signs.
That one goes low, 1-1.
The other possibility there perhaps being where Rylance is setting the target. Bisker saying, hey, I want to try and aim this in a little bit different location.
Ground ball, going to take a hop into right field. That's going to score one, 7-4 Hard Hats. Reeder gets the RBI single, scoring Roberts from third bag.
I agree with you on that, Brent. That ball was hit really hard, and because of the positioning that Hemrick was in there, up on the cutout of the grass, not a lot of opportunity to react there. It would be a really hard sell to tell me that that's a routine play for Hemrick to make.
We've seen that here at Watertown Stadium, as throw to first is not in time. You know, sometimes it just catches that sand just right and just makes that hop.
Well, and I think that's kind of a big difference there, as that ball is going to get past Rylance, is when you have some of the natural infields like this, you can get some of those weird kind of bumps and hops like that. And some places do play a more sandy texture on their infield. We have a pretty good aggro line here on the infield, so the dirt playing relatively true. It's where that grass and that aggro line kind of meet, where some of the nasty things kind of happen.
2-0 the Cloud. The count, I should say, is to Kane McLeod. Strike there, 2-1.
I can think of places like Sioux Falls over at Harmony, where especially like their mound kind of has that just dirt, kind of gravel, and that actually can end up deadening the ball at times because it displaces instead of chucking it up.
Strike the call. Count full now at 3-2. Popped up. Coming in from center, grabbing it is Pitkin. Tag applied. Throw to third, not in time. Reeder now 90 feet away here for Rapid City.
Really good piece of hitting there by McLeod to get that ball deep to center field to allow the opportunity to tag up. And again, the appeal over to second. We've seen a couple of appeals that have been called out, so it's at least worth a shot, right? The Watertown fans obviously nonplussed that they're 0 for 2 on the appeal tonight, but I do think that was a legal tag up. It looked like he was on time. And really good job by Pitkin there to get around that baseball and put himself in position to be able to make that throw. Obviously a little wide of third base, but it had a chance.
1-0 the count here to Jace Morgan. 2-0. Outside. 3-0 here to Morgan. Still just, 2-away here in the top half of the fourth inning. That's going to take a dirt bath, and it's a base on balls, and there's runners on the corner for Rapid 22. Dawson Inhofer will step to the plate now here for the Hard Hats.
If you're Rylance, maybe not necessarily a bad spot to go out and have a conversation with Bisker. This is a spot here where Bisker's throwing a lot of pitches now. It's not crazy, but he's throwing quite a bit, and obviously a lot of those were relatively out of the zone, enough to be called balls, the last one spiking. So getting him a little bit of a break to get his legs under him isn't the worst thing in the world here.
First pitch to Inhofer goes down for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes here to Dawson Inhofer.
And as a catcher, especially if he was to get to 2-0 here, I would have to go out there.
Strike. 1-1 at Bisker at 38 pitches.
And let me be clear, that's not a criticism of Rylance. It's a feel for the game kind of thing to know as a catcher, when do I go out there, when do I not? It's the same thing as a coach. Understanding what you see in front of you and when's the right rhythm to go talk to a guy. So whereas I would have gone out there, that's not necessarily a criticism of Caden there.
3-1 to the count to Inhofer. That'll be ball 4. So base on balls here for Inhofer, and Rapid has them loaded up for Josh Elder. Still just 2 away here in the top half of the fourth inning. And now we're going to get a mound visit.
It looks like Coach Neal talking to the home plate umpire. Usually that's indicative of we are making a switch. Looks like Coach Schmidt going down to call on the bullpen here. So I believe a change coming, just a matter of whom.
So Watertown here talking this one over. And Bisker's going to remain out there.
Looks like no change. The umpire just recording the visit then. Vote of confidence here. Bisker does have 2 outs. You'd like to see him work out of this. He's been effective up until these last couple of batters. So it'd be nice to see him continue.
Coach Neal's got the paper out. So this one might be the last batter. This might be the last inning Bisker faces anybody. That is going to be popped up. And grabbing that one is Pitkin for the final out of the inning. So Rapid City sends one across here in the fourth inning. New score 7-4, Hard Hats with the lead. Time now for the KXLG Inside the Game. Let's head it over to Jeremy Herbold.
From Rapid City, South Dakota. Give me your name and about how many years you've been following Post 22.
Jackie Schnickruns since 1994.
Okay.
Connie Dewey, 25.
Okay, that's pretty good. Why are you guys such big fans of Post 22?
Well, it's an excellent program, and it's good for our young boys in baseball.
It's quite the program, and they, you know, a lot of people know them. They play all over the country, and you guys try not to miss much, do you?
Right. If they're playing, we try to be there.
Absolutely. I wanted to get somebody from Rapid City and figure out what the story is with the hard hats. How'd that come about?
Well, it came about with Dave Plouffe. He had the pitchers wearing hard hats, and one time a pitcher got hit by the ball, and his dad said had it not been for the helmet, it would have probably killed him.
So that's why they still wear them to this day.
And Dave Plouffe.
They've got helmets for everybody, and they started wearing them, and they're still wearing them.
And still wearing them. How cool is that?
Yeah, for safety.
All right, well, guys, it was a pleasure to meet you. And let me ask you now, kind of a surprise losing the post 320 in the first game. What do you think is going to happen if you play them again?
Post 22 is going to win.
They're going to win.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, well, thank you for joining me, okay? All right, have a good rest of the tournament. We appreciate it. That's another edition of KXLG Inside the Game. We'll have more coming up later. Back to the booth.
Thanks, Jeremy. KXLG Inside the Game, middle of the fourth inning all week long. And also stay tuned for the KXLG postgame show. They'll chat with the winning coach and a player from the winning team. That coming up in the KXLG postgame reports. Juergens, Hansen, and Reese due up here for Watertown this half inning, trailing Rapid City 7-4. First pitch by Talon fouled off. Big swing and a miss, 0-2.
And if you're Watertown, again, you saw a couple walks that last inning. Exercising a little bit of patience, not necessarily a bad idea.
Ball the call. 1-2 here to Talon.
Obviously, you have to operate within your own personal hitting philosophy, but when you've got a guy like Rippentrop who's giving you bases, you kind of have to take advantage of that.
Strike number 3, the first out of the inning. And to the plate now is the number 9 batter, Cole Hansen.
And between last night and today, this is probably the best opportunity for us to see Hansen lay down a bunt.
Hansen, kind of the bunting specialist here for Watertown. He's put down some doozies this year. First pitch goes down for a strike.
Looks like the hard hat's well aware. Third baseman Roberts in on the cutout.
Outside, 2-0. Strike to call, 2-1.
If you're 22, the lineup's going to roll over either way. You'd like to do it clean with no runners on. So getting Hansen here, the best case scenario.
Fouled off, makes it even. Excuse me, counted 1-2. I had my book wrong there. Extra dot. Big swing and a miss, strike number 3. And the second K of the inning and the second out of the inning. Back up to the top of the order we go. Third time through the order. Hayden Reese will step to the plate.
With 2 outs here, you've got Reese at the plate, top of the order. You'd like to see a little 2-out rally get started. You gave up 1 in the last inning. You'd like to at least get that back if possible.
That is going to be delivered into right field. Base hits, more 2-out hitting here for Watertown. It's exactly what they did that last half inning. Ended up stranding 2. Stranded Lake on first and Rylance on second, but Rylance got that rally started with the base on balls in the third, and Reese will get the rally started now here with a single in the fourth.
And I'm not going to remember which game it was, but I believe it was when Sam Mooney and Tyson Zemlicka were on the call. They had a play where the ball was hit so hard the guy got thrown out at first. 22 looked like they were loaded up to try it again. Reese, however, pretty fleet of foot.
First pitch goes down for a ball to Mitch Olson. Throw to first is not in time.
Pretty good move there. The throw, Reese a little late on the jump back. The throw almost looked like it led into a tag on the backside, and it was close.
That one is going to get behind Elder, and heading to second will be Reese.
Not a lot of way around that. That's a pass ball. Just a little bit of lapse in concentration by Elder there. That pitch starts running away, and you forget that you have a runner on and don't drop down and block it.
2-0 here to Olson with a man in scoring position. 2 away, bottom of the 4th inning. Ooh, had to get out of the way. 3-0 if we play on. It'll be Marcus Pitkin due up next.
And if you're Coach Neal, 2 runners on with Pitkin at the plate would be the ideal scenario to be. If you're Rippentrop and you want to get out of here before you got to face Pitkin, you want to make sure the bases are clean when he comes up.
That's ball 4. Base on balls, and there's 2 on for Watertown. Marcus Pitkin due up next, and there goes the Arrow student section again.
Looks like Rippentrop just losing a feel for the zone again.
He's had 40 pitches here in this relief appearance. First pitch, big swing and a miss. 0-1 to Pitkin. He's looking for his first hit of the ball game.
Tough spot to be in if you're Pitkin. You just watched a 4-pitch walk, but that ball right there, taking the opportunity to at least try and drive a run in.
Outside, 1-1. Reese on second, Olson on first. 2 away, bottom 4, 7-4 Hard Hats.
Pitkin a good candidate for your due here.
Big swing and a miss. 1-2 to Pitkin.
If you're Rippentrop, getting out of here by setting Pitkin down. Not where you wanted to be, but the work you needed to do at this moment with the Pitkin in the box.
Rippentrop fires in. That's a ground ball, playable there for Roberts, and he'll make the out, the final one of the inning. Watertown strands 2 once again. We're off to the 5th, 7-4 Hard Hats. This is Post 17 TV.
Good luck to the Watertown Post 17 baseball team from Tony Arnold Construction. If you're looking for a general contractor for custom homes in and around the Watertown area, or are in need of residential, commercial home, and commercial home remodeling, give Tony Arnold Construction a call at 605-880-8497 or email TonyArnoldConstruction@gmail.com. Good luck to the Watertown Post 17 baseball team from Tony Arnold Construction.
Baseball fans, stop into the Wheel Inn for some home-cooked food. Open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the best staff in town. Plus, online ordering is available. Visit WatertownWheelIn.com to order your favorites. Come to the Wheel Inn before or after the game for your home-cooked favorites. Open daily, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Highway 20 in Watertown. Good luck to the Watertown Arrows in the State A Legion Tournament from the staff at the Wheel Inn.
Well, when we get done here, we're going to go find ourselves some of that great Wheel Inn food over in the catering area. Thanks to Wheel Inn for providing the food this week here at the Class A State American Legion Baseball Tournament. As we head to the 5th, it's 7-4 Hard Hats. Hard Hats will set up in this half inning the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, Johnson, Hunt, and Roberts. Bisker continues up on the hill, 42 pitches in this relief appearance. First pitch goes down for a strike into Johnson.
Really good pitch there by Bisker. The arm action, same as his fastball, and then he just pulled the string.
That one goes low. 1-1.
Good follow-up pitch there, seeing if he can get Johnson to expand even further on that.
And to get out of the way. 2-1.
That one a little less competitive.
That was a quacker. Low there. 3-1 to Johnson.
If you're a pitcher, you love that you lived low there. You hope you get the call on the knees, and that one just a little too far.
Sent to right field and foul down that first base line. Full count now here to Johnson. That'll be ball 4. So base on balls, and Rapid City will get the leadoff man on here in the 5th inning. The number 9 hitter comes to the plate now in Blaine Hunt.
Good job by Bisker getting strike 1 there with the first pitch, but unable to follow it up. Good patience by Johnson there, not helping Bisker out, getting to a full count, and then getting the walk.
Blaine Hunt got a little instruction, and now he'll step into the batter's box.
Left-handed batter in the 9-hole. That should sound familiar to Post 17 fans. We see Reese climb in towards the cutout a little bit, not quite all the way up there. Probably going to gather momentum on the way up.
First pitch, bunt down the third base line, scooped up, toss across in time for the outs.
And like you said, Brent, the little bit of discussion there between Coach Torvey and the batter Hunt there kind of telegraphed the fact that that's probably going to be a bunt given the situation. So it is going to go 5-3 as a sacrifice, but really the element of surprise kind of eliminated out of that one.
We're back up to the top of the order, the 4th time through the order here for Rapid City. It is Aiden Roberts. First pitch goes down for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes here to Roberts.
The Watertown fans unimpressed with that call.
That one goes low again. 2-0. They were chirping just a little bit.
A little bit to say on that one. I think that was a good call, though. Looked like probably a little low, a little out, so.
That is a grounder down the third base line. Fair, it'll go. That's going to be trouble. 1 run will score. It's an RBI double here for Aiden Roberts.
Really good piece of hitting there, getting the hands inside of that, driving the thing just inside and over the bag. And the umpire right on top of that immediately, as he got out of the way, pointed into fair territory. If you're post 22, that's exactly what you needed, is a couple of runs between last inning and this inning. Try and balloon that lead back out as insurance.
That'll send to the plate now Lars Kiefer, as we'll get a steal on, head over to third. Roberts now 90 feet away. Some good base running here by Rapid City in this inning.
And you would expect nothing less. I mean, they came in as the number 1 overall seed. They should be a very well-coached team.
That one is delivered into right field. Olsen with the outs. Tag is applied. Another run will score. 9-4 Rapid City.
Olsen there doing a good job of getting behind the baseball. As a coach, I'd like to see him get a little bit more behind that so that he can catch that ball running in to get momentum towards home plate already as he goes to make that throw. Now, that ball hit deep enough, it would take a pretty extraordinary toss to actually get the runner there. However, you want to at least give yourself the opportunity. So he did a good job of getting behind it and settled. But I'd like to see him get a little bit deeper even and get running into that catch and throw.
Wyatt Rader to the plate now here for Rapid City. Has a 2-0 count. Popped up. And that one is called there by Pitkin. He'll come on to make the grab, the final one of the inning. Rapid City sends 2 more across as we enter the bottom of the 5th inning. New score 9-4 Hard Hats. This is Post 17 TV.
William Neal and Company would like to wish the Watertown Post 17 Legion baseball team good luck this season. Another great team for all your auditing, accounting, and tax preparation needs are the professionals at William Neal and Company, a full-service accounting firm serving the area for over 50 years. Offices located in Watertown and Clark. Give them a call today at 886-6028. That's 886-6028.
Do something to launch your future at Lake Area Tech. It's a living, working, thought-producing environment to help you level up in the workforce. Combined with hands-on training and real-world experience, you'll be ready to find a high-paying career you'll love right out of school, the way 99% of our graduates do. It's the best return on your college investment, the quickest path to your future success. Lake Area Tech, the start of something new.
Glacier Lakes Power Sports and Golf is your indoor golf destination in Watertown, South Dakota. We have 4 golf simulators available to rent 7 days a week. Call us at 605-954-4080 to reserve your time, or visit our website at glpowersports.com.
The best way to get the most out of college is to do the
6 hitters due up here for Watertown as we begin the bottom of the 5th inning. Hard Hats on top of the arrows, 9-4. I'm Brent Nathaniel. He's Nate Russell. Glad to have you along here. Post 17 TV. This week's production in conjunction with the great crew at Arrow TV with help from our friends at KXLG Radio. Thanks to everybody who has really kind of made this week possible, streaming and putting in volunteer hours and putting in hours making the field just amazing. This has been a big production, a lot of man hours. A big thanks to everyone that has made this possible. First pitch into Briggs, goes for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes to Briggs. Rippentrop continues up on the hill at 44 pitches in this relief appearance. 2-0.
If you're Rippentrop, you now again have a 5-run lead at 9-4. You can't not throw strikes. You have to find a way to make them put the ball in play.
Low. 3-0 to Briggs.
And as a coach, this is the thing that we talk with pitchers about is you can't breathe life into teams that you are trying to put away by giving them free bases and by giving them basically easy at-bats.
Strike. 3-1. Fouled away. Full count now to Briggs at 3-2.
And that pitch fouled away pretty close to straight back, probably a little bit behind it, but straight back means on time theoretically as far as baseball is concerned.
Popped up, playable for the infield. Reeder finds it to make the first out of the inning. Next up to the plate is Caden Rylance.
And that time Briggs just pulled off of that baseball a little bit, got the bottom half, pops it up. Another example of just the barrel not quite finding the baseball.
Rylance takes a first pitch for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes here to Cato. Outside, 2-0. Chris Rylance going to SDSU's dad Heath. Roger with the Public Opinion had a great article on the Rylance family a couple of days ago in the PO. Strike the call, 2-1. Low, 3-1.
This probably another example of Rippentrop in post 22 saying, we'll let Rylance get himself out if he wants to swing at stuff, but we're not going to give him anything too good.
Strike the call, full count now at 3-2. Ground ball. Playable for the third baseman. Toss it over. And in time, Roberts to Reeder for the second out of the inning.
Really good job there by Roberts to come in, and he kind of bobbled that ball at first on the run and then get himself gathered, get the throw over, and I will say Reeder doing his third baseman a big favor with that pick and holding the bag.
Rippetroff, too, doing a good job recognizing where he was at on the mound and where where Roberts was at to really duck and get himself out of the way of that throw. First pitch goes to Lake for strike. Jonathan Lake's grandma joined us on KXLG Inside the Game earlier in the week. I believe I'm going to send that one out on social media tomorrow morning. I think I'm sending that one out there. 1-1 the count here to Lake.
Just another example of baseball in the family around Watertown, right?
Very much so. Low. 2-1.
Good approach by Lake here to get himself ahead in the count. If you're Rippentrop, you got to get back in there, get even.
Strike. 2-2.
Now, if you're Lake, you got to protect, you got to expand it a little, knowing that Rippentrop has had some trouble finding the zone.
That is delivered over into right field and will drop down for a base hit. Johnson not able to get there in time. And a more two-out hitting here for Watertown. But what they have struggled with is really converting on those two-out hits.
And not only converting on those two-out hits, but then finding a way to string 1, 2, maybe 3 hits together. This is a good example of duck snorts will get it done, finding a way to deposit that into right field. But this offense needs to find a way to build on that and start to build momentum through hits.
Drayton Hemrick to the plate now here for the Arrows. And oh, he's going to feel that one in the morning.
When I said hits, that's not exactly what I meant. So I guess my apologies to Drayton on the announcer's jinx. I more so meant use the barrel, but at this point you're down 5. You need runners any way you can. We use the phrase in baseball, we got ice. I have seen a couple of athletic trainers around the stadium, so I'm imagining that there's also some ice floating around.
Talon Jurgens to the plate now here for the Arrows. First pitch goes down for a strike. No balls, 1 strike here to Jurgens.
Really interesting lead here by Lake to try and get almost a sprinter's kind of head start.
Fouled into the nets. 0-2. Lake on second, Hemrick on first.
And it looks like he not only is getting behind the bag, which is the thing we teach runners to do, but he's getting, like, I'm going to say on the right field side of the bag so that he can get the walking lead here.
Strike number 3. And the final out of the inning. Watertown strands 2 once again. As we head off to the 6th inning, Hard Hats on top, 9-4. This is Post 17 TV.
The best way to get the most out of college is to do the most while you're in it. At Lake Area Tech, you'll learn in living, working environments with hands-on training and real-world experience to prepare for a high-paying career you love right out of school. From the moment you step on campus until you're one of our graduate success stories, when you start something here, you'll get an education you can really put to work and the best return on your investment. Lake Area Tech, the start of something new.
At Active Heating, you could say we specialize in comfort, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, air and water quality. Active Heating is ready. Too hot or too cold? Our certified comfort experts for Coleman Heating and Cooling Equipment can help. Don't let a leak drain your bank account. Our plumbers can handle it. Improve your air and water quality with an air purifier and reverse osmosis system from Active Heating, your local Coleman dealer. Active Heating of Watertown and Brookings, your comfort experts.
Looking for a way to show your school spirit and support the Watertown School District? With the Arrow Spirit card from American Bank and Trust, you can do both. Every time you use your Arrow Spirit debit card, a portion of your purchase goes right back to the school, helping fund important programs and activities. It's a win for you and a big win for our students. Visit your local American Bank and Trust at 1715 First Avenue Northeast today to sign up and make a difference with every swipe. American Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
New pitcher for Watertown will be Briggs, as Bisker's evening is done at 57 pitches. He'll go 3 innings, 3 hits, and 3 walks. So that will make some defensive changes here for Watertown. Reese is at shorts. And I believe Bisker's on third, correct? Correct.
Yes.
McLeod, Morgan, and Inhofer due up here for Rapid City. 1-1 the count here to McLeod.
Not a surprise on the defensive shift there with Briggs going to the mound. Briggs spent a little time away from the team, and this was kind of the defensive alignment they played with in that interim.
1-2 here to McLeod. Low, 2-2.
Pretty good 2-strike pitch there, just a little bit too low for the umpire to go get it. Really good patience by McLeod there to see that is down and let it go.
Makes the count full on that pitch at 3-2. That's going to be ball 4, and the leadoff man is on here for Rapid City in the 6th.
And Brent, I used the phrase yesterday, it's getting late early. It's the 6th inning, you're down 5. If you're Briggs, you need to have a couple of quick innings here. You need to get your team some confidence, get back in the dugout, and hopefully put some rallies together. So hopefully he can get a ground ball here if you're post 17.
Chase Morgan takes in a first pitch strike. Rapid City did most of their damage in the second, got 6 in the second, and they batted around the order, tacked on 1 in the 4th and 2 in the 5th.
If you're post 22, everything you score from here on out is gravy as long as you continue to hold them defensively. So any insurance runs are obviously welcome given the rally that Brandon Valley put together yesterday.
That is a grounder, stop there, but Reese unable to make that out at second. He stopped it with his body as we take a look here, just diving after that ball, but just unable to come up in time, just a hair short on that out at second.
And an incredible play by Reese to get over there, get that ball stopped. The unfortunate part is he has to lay out and then has to readjust his body to get back to second base to try and make that play. And if you're Rapid City, McLeod there taking for granted that ball was not going to try and beat him to second base. Almost didn't make it.
Nelson Inhofer due to the plate now. First pitch goes out for a ball, and heading over to third will be McLeod.
And that an example of the defensive change happening and then the defense not being on the same page on what's being called there. So the bunt was shown. We have runners first and second. Bisker crashes, which normally then if you're going to send your third baseman down, you're going to rotate that shortstop back over. And in that case, Reese, normally third baseman, does not react quite quick enough to get a back pick there. And the base stolen by McLeod.
So a mound visit here for Coach Neal. Earlier today, Yankton beat Runner 5-4 in 10 innings. The game that will follow this one will be Rapid City 3:20 and Harrisburg. We do not know the schedule for tomorrow. 4 and 7 o'clock will be the games. The schedule will be decided following this one, but I can tell you that you and I will be on the 7 o'clock game tomorrow here on Post 17 TV.
It's good for us to have some semblance of control there and understand where we're at. It's always an interesting part in the tournament here once you get to Thursday, because a lot of times you get situations where it depends on who wins which game and who's already faced each other. And so we're actually going to have to wait for the conclusion of the 7 o'clock game here tonight to know not only who's playing whom, but also what time.
First pitch. That is a ground ball right to Bisker. Makes the out. Turn to first. Cannot make it. That gets past Juergens. And a run will score. 10-4 Rapid City.
Really unfortunate there. McLeod, standing on third, had just conceded the fact that he probably wasn't going to score. He's standing flat-footed, and Bisker throws that ball over. Unfortunately, Himrich not able to complete the throw on the other end. Probably wasn't getting the out, but then it takes an unfortunate bounce and allows the run in.
Elder takes a first pitch low for a ball as Rylance keeping Inhofer honest over at first. Runner goes, throw to second, will not be in time. Inhofer takes second on the steal. Ball 2 the count here to Elder, and this is one of the things good teams do, and that's what we're seeing with Rapid City is good base running. It's been good base running all afternoon long.
And that a good example there of Briggs not mixing up his looks and Rapid City getting a good feel for how long his pause is, what his body language is when he's going to deliver, and getting an extremely good jump. Rylance never, even though Briggs throws a pretty firm fastball, Rylance never really had a shot to put the runner out there.
Strike. 3-1. That's ball 4. So base on balls, and there's 2 on here for Rapid City in the 6th inning. To the plate now is Carter Johnson.
And if you're Briggs, you're a single ground ball away here if you can find a way to get a double play. That's kind of what the doctor ordered. If you're Rapid City, you got to keep the at-bats going here.
That one is going to be delivered into center field. Going to drop down for a base hit, and Rapid City has loaded him up once again. Inhofer to third, Elder to second, Johnson to first, and the number 9 hitter will come to the plate now, Blaine Hunt.
The runners for 22 there, you have Inhofer at second base there, kind of held things up a little bit. He wasn't sure Pitkin was going to be able to make that play, probably not as aware of where the outfield was playing as he should have been. Holds things up. Number 1 doesn't score, but then number 2 has to scramble over because he had Elder right on his heels.
0-1 the count here to Hunt. Ground ball, gonna get through the gap into center field. 1 run will score, and it's 11-4 Hard Hats. RBI single for Blaine Hunt, sending in Inhofer from third, and the bags remain loaded with just 1 out in the 6th.
And an RBI single there for Hunt, right back up the middle. The infielders drawing in, unfortunately unable to get to that baseball. And if you're the Hard Hats, this is kind of the thing you do. You've got your foot on the gas, and now it just keeps going.
That one gets past Cato, but everyone going to be staying on bag. 5th time through the order here for Rapid City. Aiden Roberts to the plate. One goes high. 2-0. Roberts 4 for 4 on the afternoon. Outside. 3-0. 13 hits for Rapid City, just 3 for Watertown. strike. 3-1.
And 13 hits. Kind of the same story with Harrisburg last night, right? Watertown doing a good job of putting the ball in the zone, but just facing offenses that know how to get the ball in play.
Fouled into the nets. Full count now at 3-2. Top 6, 11-4 Hard Hats. Still just 1 out. Bags are loaded here for 22. Quick meeting between Rylance and Briggs up here on the hill.
I think Rylance and Briggs not quite on the same page with what they want to go throw here. As a pitcher, you have, generally speaking, a plan as you go into each batter, and as a catcher, it's kind of your job to know all of the batters and have the relative plan. And so when you get relievers in, that's where things get a little bit sideways, because it's not what you prepared for, and then you have guys that you have to get communicated with each time.
Full count here to Roberts, as that one going to be scooped up. The out at home, and no play, but the second out will be recorded as Josh Elder, the out at home. So Roberts will reach on that fielder's choice. Two away.
And that a good example of what the infield in does there. Make sure you get the lead out. Make sure you don't allow another run. 6-2 on the force out there. And now the defense can play a little bit more natural. They still need an out, but it can come at any bag at this point.
Lars Kiefer will take in a first pitch strike. Briggs at 25 pitches, all of them here in this inning. Oh, 2 the count now here to Kiefer.
But I think that's an important note as well, Brent. 25 pitches is a lot, but it feels like a lot more with as much traffic as 22 has had this inning.
That one goes low, 1-2. Kiefer 2 for 3, including a 3-run homer back in the second. That one going to be delivered into left center. Drops down for a base hit. 1 run will score. Kiefer going to slide into second with another RBI. And it's 12-4 Hard Hats. Hunt will stay at third. Kiefer at second. And actually, Roberts will come in. Hunt will come in. That was a 2 RBI double here by Kiefer. So try to get my book right. 13-4 our score. Wyatt Reeder to the plate now here for 22. Still 2 away here in the 6th inning.
And it looks like Reeder going to get the intentional base on balls. So they're actually going to elect to pitch to McLeod here.
We're going to bat around the order. Second time Rapid City has batted around the order. It's Kane McLeod, like you mentioned here. Popped up. Playable for the infield here. Grabbing it, Jorgens. Final outs of the inning. But Rapid City sends 1, 2, 3, 4 runs across the plate in the 6th. New score as we enter the bottom of the 6th inning. 13-4 Hard Hats. This is Post 17 TV.
In town for the game or just passing through? Well, swing by Country Road Barn, home of the area's best smoked meats, brisket, ribs, pulled pork, all slow smoked to perfection and served with that small town charm. They're open Wednesday through Friday, 5 until 9 p.m., so plan your visit and bring your appetite. It's a true taste of small town South Dakota and worth every mile. The Country Road Barn, just minutes from Watertown and a home run for your hunger. Stay connected with them on their Facebook page or website.
As one of the nation's strongest financial organizations, First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card have the strength to do good. We support nearly 700 organizations and nonprofits. Our employees give more than 30,000 volunteer hours annually. And we are continually seeking ways to make South Dakota an even better place to live. It's the Premier way. First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card.
Watertown will send Hanson, Reese, and Olson to the plate here. Bottom of the 6th inning, trailing the Hard Hats 13-4. I'm Brent Nathaniel. He's Nate Russell. Glad to have you along here, Post 17 TV. This week's production being produced by the great folks at Arrow TV, along with help from our friends at KXLG Radio. Stay tuned for the KXLG post-game reports. We'll talk to the winning coach and a player from the winning team coming up here in the KXLG post-game reports. As that one, a little dribbler. Toss over is in time for the outs.
I'm going to have to double check here, perhaps on the replay. I think the one that eventually gathered that ended up being the pitcher.
I think it was too, as that one just kind of spun off the sand real quick. We'll go back up to the top of the order and Hayden Reese here, but ooh, that is a close play over at first, but I believe that looked like the right call.
Yep, bang, bang, and it's one of the tougher ones because you can't necessarily see everything in front of you all the time. And so one of the things as an umpire you look for is there a difference in sound between foot hitting the bag and ball hitting the mitt? Now the advantage is that umpire's standing right on top of that play.
2-0. You know, for your Watertown, how do you keep yourself in this ball game down 13-4 here in the bottom of the 6th?
It's a really hard thing to do. Now, the discussion is anything's possible, right? We've talked about Brandon Valley and how that's kind of the mantra they've had since the high school playoffs, right? And so you just have to take it one at bat at a time. And the other thing is, when you're the batter that's up in the box, you have to remember to approach each pitch just one at a time. Like I said earlier, you're not going to get everything back in one swing, so you just have to find ways on base.
Full count, 3-2 yesterday. Brandon Valley almost completed the comeback in the 7th inning, losing that one 11-9, but that 7th inning, I think it went on for 45 minutes. Base on balls, and the comeback starts now here for Watertown as Reese will reach. To the plate is Mitch Olson.
And this is one of the things that a lot of people that like baseball over other sports kind of talk about is in basketball you can kind of dribble the clock out and then you should throw a shot up and then the 24 seconds has just gone by. In the defense, they can do certain things to try and defend against that, but really they have the opportunity. In football, you have the opportunity to run a 4-minute drill and run the clock out. You can kneel at certain points because the other team's out of timeouts. In baseball, you have to give that other team their shot. You have to pitch the ball to them.
1-1 to Olson.
And that's something, as the team that's trying to mount the comeback, you have to then take that and build a little confidence with it. You're going to be given your opportunity. Now you just have to find ways to capitalize.
And to get out of the way, 2-1. Three and one now here to Olson. Marcus Pitkin to do up next.
And if you're the Hard Hats, you don't want to have to throw another pitcher here, but you also don't want to open the door for a comeback. And if Rippentrop doesn't start to find ways to get outs here, you might see a little bit of a quick hook. They've had, I believe it was number 15, Montgomery, down in the bullpen warming.
Swing and a miss, full count, 3-2. Rippentrop at 76 pitches here in this relief appearance.
And it makes sense to let him go this deep. There's no tournament left for him apart from playing defense. So let him go as long as he can and see what he can do for you.
Got him. Strike number 3, second out of the inning. To the plate is Marcus Pitkin. Man on first bag for Watertown is Hayden Reese. Got there on a base on balls a moment ago. Pitkin 0 for 3 on the afternoon. First pitch goes into the stands for a souvenir.
And that souvenir immediately tossed back. Good grab by the fan there.
Strike. 0-2 to Pitkin.
Pitkin needs to find a way to turn the wheel here, whether it's a hit by a pitch, walk, whatever it is, he's got to find a way.
In the dirt, 1-2.
That a pretty good 0-2 pitch by Rippentrop there. I have a feeling that's probably a setup pitch of some sort. He's probably going to come back with something either on the outside corner or something slightly elevated above the hands, see if he can get Pitkin reaching.
Big swing and a miss. Strike number 3 and the final out of the inning. No runs, no hits, 1 left on bag. We're off to the 7th, 13-4 Hard Hats. This is Post 17 TV.
Glacier Lakes Power Sports and Golf is your indoor golf destination in Watertown, South Dakota. We have 4 golf simulators available to rent 7 days a week. Call us at 605-954-4080 to reserve your time or visit our website at glpowersports.com.
Infinity Fun is the place to be. They got trampolines, they got bowling, they got mini golf, they got games, they got food that's insanely good. Infinity Fun, they got trampolines, they got bowling, they got mini golf, they got games, they got food that's insanely good. Infinity Fun.
Open 7 days a week in Watertown.
Your starting lineup for KXLG Radio. Leading off at the front desk, Lori Kane. On the air, your power hitters, Jeremy Herbold, Ben Dilla, Jan Robson, Tim Williams, Gary Weckworth, Robin Givens, Doreen Foster, and Jaden Thomas. If it's news, Steve Jurens hits it out of the park. In sales, your closers, Andy Turback, Ben Dilla, Nicole Kraus, and Brody Reese. And skipper, Melissa Herbold. KXLG, your locally owned community radio station, still undefeated.
13-4, Rapid City Post 22 leading Watertown Post 17 as we enter the 7th inning of work. Rapid City will send Morgan, Inhofer, and Elder to the plates as Briggs looks like he will continue up on the hill here for Watertown. 30 pitches in his relief appearance.
And if you're Coach Neal, leaving Briggs out there, I mean, at this point, it's do or die. It's the 7th inning. There's not really a lot left apart from if Briggs starts to get erratic and starts to struggle to get outs. There's not really a lot of reason to go anywhere else as far as pitching's concerned. And it looks like a switch also made. It looks like perhaps Reese on the mound, as it looks like. Excuse me.
Yeah, it is. It's Marcus Pitkin up on the hill. So Pitkin will step onto the mound, and a first pitch will go into center field, and a leadoff hit here by Morgan. Get those numbers close together. I saw the 2 and I just assumed, but no, it will be Pitkin on the hill.
Well, and I saw Hayden up there, and I couldn't tell if he was up there to pitch or if he'd come from third base. So I saw Hayden back and then Briggs back at shortstop. So
bring it to the plates now will be Dawson Inhofer. First pitch popped up and we'll go foul. 0-1 here to Inhofer. Big swing and a miss. 0-2 to Inhofer.
And Brent, I think this is a good example. If you're 22, you want to come in playing your best ball. Obviously, they didn't play their best game on Tuesday in the opening matchup against 320, but then good teams finding a way to flush that poor game and make sure that it ends there, and they continue good baseball after that going forward.
1-2 the count here to Inhofer. Low, 2-2.
And if you're Coach Neal in post 17, you got Sturgis and Spearfish prior to this tournament because you didn't have to play a regional play-in, and that was the hope, was that was going to set them up to be playing their best ball coming out of that long road trip. And obviously, as we've seen tonight and last night, that didn't necessarily bear out.
Throw to first, not in time. Pitkin fires in as that one is deliverable into center field for Olson for the second out of the inning. Excuse me, first out of the inning. Yes, you are correct.
Had to double check myself there. I was did I black out for a second?
I slid my column over and I was looking up at the other column.
And then I'm looking at the batter going, I'm pretty sure that's Inhofer at the plate still.
Josh Elder to the plate here for Rapid City as that one gets past Cato, and Morgan going to take second. I just keep going back to this. It's just been great base running here for Rapid City 22. Just a very well-rounded ball game for the Hard Hats.
Understanding the backstop and how deep it is and how it kicks off that mat. No hesitation in the bases they've taken.
Up high. 2-0.
And that's another thing that good teams do, right? They capitalize on mistakes that you make, and they make sure that every mistake is magnified by not missing the opportunity.
Strike the call there. 2-1 to Elder. Three and one. That's ball four. So base on balls, and there's 2 on for Rapid City here in the top half of this 7th inning. To the plate is Carter Johnson.
And Brent, you kind of observed before last inning just kind of the, I'm going to say, general demeanor of Watertown's dugout. You can also tell there's a little bit of that despair at this moment. The infield is quiet. Nobody's chattering. The outfield's not talking to Marcus at this point. And so if you're Marcus, you need somebody to start talking behind you. But if you're post 17 and you want to try and make some type of comeback, you have to start to force the action a little bit by bringing a little bit of energy and starting to find somewhere to make good things happen.
Big swing and a miss. 1-1 the count here to Johnson.
And as a coach, in moments like this, what I talk to my players about, no matter the sport, is life's going to knock you down sometimes, and you have to find a way to get back up. You have to find a way to fight back. You're not always going to win those fights, but the last thing you can do is give up and lay down.
1-2 to Johnson. Pitkin steps off. 15 hits for Rapid City, 3 for Watertown, including 3 Watertown errors in this game.
And the other part of that message, one of the things that I talk about is sometimes in life you have to make that fight alone. In a team sport like this, you get to make that fight with 10, 12, 11 other guys around you that you've been building as a family all season long. And when you have to put yourself in that corner and you have to find a way to stand back up, you all have to pull together in order to make that happen.
2-2. That'll fill up the count at 3-2. Big swing and a miss. We'll get a throw to third. That gets past Reese, and another run will score. And now we'll get a throw to second, and the out is recorded there. A bang-bang play for Watertown, but a run will score as we enter the bottom of the 7th inning. 14 for our score. This is Post 17 TV.
Looking for family fun all in one place? The Come Out to Legends. Tee off on their mini golf course. Race your crew in go-karts and strike up some laughs with mini bowling. Kids love the arcade, and parents, they've got you covered with cold beer and amazing food. And don't forget the cherry on top, SDSU ice cream. It's all happening at Legends, where fun meets flavor. Highway 212, Watertown. Mack Landscaping and Lawn Irrigation was started in 1983 and has developed into the top landscape and lawn irrigation business in the area. And it's not hard to see why. Just take a look at some of the work they've done. No job is too big or too small. Give Shane Mack a call at 605-880-6001 for landscaping, or Wyatt Mack at 605-880-0300 for lawn irrigation or lighting.
They say there's no guarantees in life. But who's they? And do they have Midco Internet? Now there's a guarantee. So let's go. Let's go reliable. Let's go resilient. Let's go beyond.
Bottom of the 7th inning, Rapid City 22 leads Watertown 14-4. Briggs, Rylance, and Lake 2 up for Watertown here in this half inning of work. Make sure you stay tuned as well. KXLG postgame show will follow this one. And we'll also have game 2 about 40 minutes following the conclusion of this game. We'll fire up a new stream here on Post 17 TV. It'll be Rapid City 320 and Harrisburg.
And Brent, take your pick on whatever phrase you want to use. I've heard a number of them. It's last call, smoke them if you got them, whatever it is. If you got anything left in the tank, if you're Post 17, now's the time, because it's win or go home, and it's the 7th. There is no other opportunity unless you find a way to score 10 here. So if you're Post 22, you need 3 outs. It's that simple. And you've got Rippentrop up there, who is one of your better pitchers. He's gone a long ways in this game, so you have to trust him to get in the zone and try and make this as efficient as possible.
I think smoke him if you got him is very much a good way to putting it with the Canadian wildfire smoke we're going to see over the next couple of days. 1 pitch, 1 out, 1 away. Caden Rylance to the plate now here for Watertown.
The approach so far against Rylance for 22 appears to be pitch around Rylance, let him get himself out if he wants to. I don't expect that to change here.
First pitch goes down for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes here to Rylance.
The last thing you want to do if you're 22 is breathe life into the team that you're up by 10 on.
2-0. Sent to center. Grabbed there by Kiefer. 2nd out of the inning, and Watertown down to their last out of the year. I believe that's Jonathan Lake.
I can't tell.
Ashton Rabine.
I was going to say, it didn't have the build of Lake, so I figured it was somebody different.
I was thinking that same thing too. First pitch into Ashton. It goes down for a ball.
Which is logical given that they chose to lift the DH in order to make the pitching change.
Ground ball. Scooped up, toss across in time, and Rapid City Post 22 ends the year of Watertown Post 17 by a final here of 14-4. Let's take a look at our post-game statistics this afternoon. We'll first start out with Rapid 22, a 15-hit day, 12 RBIs. Roberts, 4 hits, 3 RBIs. Kiefer, 3 hits, 6 RBIs. Reeder with an RBI. Morgan with 3 hits. 1 hit by Inhofer, 1 for Elder, 1 for Johnson. Hunt with 2 hits and 2 RBIs. 33 at-bats, 14 runs, 15 hits, 12 RBIs, 8 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Mickley will go an inning and a third in the starting role. 1 hit, 4 runs, 4 earned, 2 strikeouts, and 4 walks. Rippentrop will go 5 2/3 in relief. 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, and 4 walks. For the Arrows, it'll be a 3-hit afternoon. Reese will have a hit along with Rylance and Lake. 23 at-bats, 4 runs, 3 hits, 3 RBIs, 8 walks, and 8 strikeouts. On the hill, McClemens will take the L. 1 1/3, 7 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Dilla goes 2/3. Pitkin goes an inning, 1 run, 1 hit, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Briggs goes an inning, 4 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 3 strikeouts. Biskers throws 3 in relief, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 1 strikeout, and 3 walks. Watertown closes out their year with a record of 38-29 and will graduate 8 seniors: Hayden Reese, Mitch Olson, Trayton Himmerich, Matt Dilla, Talon Jurgens, Caden Rylance, Nash Berg, and Nathan Briggs. That's going to wrap things up here. The KXLG post-game report is next on Post 17 TV.
Midwest Foam and Coatings LLC is a family-owned and operated full-service insulation company specializing in spray foam application and energy efficiency. They offer all types of insulation like spray foam, blown-in cellulose, blown-in fiberglass, and fiberglass bats. Midwest Foam and Coatings also does insulation removal along with specialty coating that can restore rubber and metal roof systems. Visit their website for more information at mwfoam.com. Good luck to the Watertown Post 17 baseball team from Midwest Foam and Coatings.
Between working on our farm and being a surgical nurse here at Prairie Lakes for 43 years, my shoulders have been through a lot. I needed a different kind of surgery. It's called a reverse total shoulder replacement. Different shoulders are different. With surgeons like Dr. Johnston here in Watertown, I didn't need a different city, just a different plan.
Prairie Lakes Healthcare System. Your health, our mission.
City Post number 22, the number 1 seed, defeat Watertown, the 3 seed, by a score of 14-4. With the win, Rapid City Post 22 advances to play again. Watertown season has come to a close. Ben Dilla joining me here. We got Todd Judding looking for the coach and a player coming up here from Rapid City Post 22 that we'll talk to. But Benny, it's been quite a day of baseball and an interesting game, but Post 22, boy, they really seem to turn it around tonight.
Yeah, they looked like the number 1 seed tonight. Pitching and defense, which Coach Kelvin Torby told us yesterday he wasn't pleased with, looked much improved today. Still a few early walks. That's kind of how Watertown got their runs, but offensively they seemed like they saw the ball well. I think they had 15 hits, 14 runs. Watertown only had 3 hits. It was a pretty complete ball game by Post 22, and they kind of go away in dominating fashion here tonight.
Absolutely, and we're not quite sure, as we've been saying, who they're going to end up playing. They have a little weird scenarios with American Legion Baseball once you get past a Thursday deal to see who plays on Friday, because you don't want to match up previous opponents and different scenarios when you look at the bracket, and we don't really want to speculate until everything's over. Before we're off the air, hopefully we'll have a complete rundown from an official word on who's going to be playing who tomorrow. We will tell you that if you still advance, which we're down to, what, 4 teams left?
Correct, yep.
Okay, so we got Rapid City Post 22. We got
320. We got Yankton
and Harrisburg.
And Harrisburg.
All right. So they know they're going to be playing tomorrow, because our matchup here tonight with 320 from Rapid City and Harrisburg, they're the 2 undefeateds at 2-0 right now. As we wait for the coach coming up here in a little bit and a player hopefully, what do you think they need to do after tonight? Because they've been having a long week of baseball, some pretty good games. Do you just rest and kind of hang out and just try to take it easy?
I think so, yeah. Maybe what you did today seemed to work really well for them. So, whatever that looked like pre-game, maybe do that same thing. Because at the earliest tomorrow they play at 4 again. So they got a full 20, 21 hours here to rest up and figure out a strategy and come back tomorrow and play a game. And maybe they played the 7 o'clock game, so they could have even more time to recuperate and kind of get ready.
Absolutely. And we look at Watertown, unfortunately for them, this is their final game of the season. There's a lot of expectations going into this season. They obviously did very well all year long. Got a lot of seniors that are not going to be coming back, obviously, next year, that are going on to college. Always kind of a sad thing, Benny.
It is, yep. It's kind of the bittersweet part of these state tournaments is that these kids that put so much effort and work into and time, into playing baseball all summer and all the summers leading up to this. For some of them, it's the last time they'll kind of play competitive baseball at this level. They may find their way onto amateur teams or softball fields, but there is a little bit of a difference with Legion baseball. So bittersweet for them, but they should all be very proud of how they played and just come up a bit short today.
Absolutely. Aiden, come on up here. We're going to have Benny talk to you. You had one heck of a game. Congratulations.
Thank you. Aiden, good to see a great game out there. 3 doubles, a handful of RBIs, couple nice plays in the field. How were you seeing the ball today? It seemed like you were might have been a beach ball to you today.
Yeah, I was seeing the ball pretty well today, unlike the other days, but just the mentality changed and we came out as a Lion, and that's how we had to do.
Absolutely. What was kind of the message before the game, kind of coming into this with, you've already lost one game, you won yesterday, got to keep winning. What was the message today?
Yeah, it was just come out and play our best ball and show them who we are and what we can be and be the Lion, like I said.
Absolutely. Well, you sure were. You were roaring all day. Congratulations. I'll let you get back to your teammates, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, that's pretty awesome. And let's bring in the coach, Coach Kelvin Torvey, and we're going to have Mr. Jetting talk to him. Congratulations, sir. Pretty awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Coach. Come out today with 15 hits, probably a little more than what you might have been expecting coming into the tournament. Is that kind of what you anticipate?
We have swung it all year. What we haven't done is walk guys and hit guys and, not pitch well. Thankfully, McCoy came in and restored some sanity to the game, and so we need to build up what McCoy did, because we really swung the bat all year and we really pitched well all year. But McCoy came in and just did what we wanted him to do.
Excellent. That's those are the things, like I said, that's what you expected some of these guys to do, maybe get more hits and settle things down a little bit from the mound standpoint. How are you guys sitting as far as tomorrow's game is pitching staff wise?
McCoy's ineligible and Rowan was. Other than that, everybody's like Negebauer can throw Saturday, so we've got the pitching to make a run. Now the question is, are they going to pitch? And so that's been the question to this point, and we were trying to challenge him, and McCoy answered the bell today. He answered what we wanted him to do.
Good. Looking forward to tomorrow's game. Any idea who you may play yet, do you think? Or?
I have no idea. I'm trying to recover from today. This tournament's a PTSD thing, so yeah.
Okay, well, good enough. Thank you. Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow, and wish you best of luck.
Appreciate it. Yes. All right. Well, awesome job there from Rapid City Post 22. Come on in here, guys. We're going to wrap this up here real quick, as we'll have more coming up here shortly. But we all remember the interview with Coach last night. You could tell he was wasn't happy. I'm not sure what they did, but they definitely figured it out and turned it around, wouldn't you say?
They sure did, and I liked what Aiden said. Come out like a lion. That's great. They sure showed up. They played as a pack, and they really flexed their muscles here this afternoon and evening.
You're a former coach, Todd. What do you think he said to those guys last night to get this amount of effort out of them today?
Well, it's one of those situations where you look at maybe he was disappointed with how they played. Some errors, like he said earlier. Guys got to throw strikes, and they weren't getting that out of their pitching staff. And then he said finally they got settled in a little bit. You're dealing with kids that are 16, 17, 18 maybe years old, and they got to understand that this is a state tournament, and nobody's just going to walk in and say, well, we're here, we're going to win, so.
I like his style.
I do as well. He's a great interview.
Yeah, the message was definitely sent and received.
Absolutely. Well, it was a good one. Unfortunately, like we said, for Watertown fans, Watertown season has come to an end. Rapid City Post 22, 14-4 over Watertown in game number 10. Game 11 coming up shortly. It's a 2-1 defeat. It's Harrisburg against Rapid City Post number 320. Which team is going to make it through their third game undefeated? Which team will take their first loss? We'll find out coming up shortly. We'll be back with the KXLG pregame show in just a little while here as we get set for our next matchup of the evening. For Todd Judding, for Ben Dilla, I'm Jeremy Herbold, and this has been the KXLG postgame show.
You've been watching coverage of the 2025 Class A American Legion Baseball Tournament on Post 17 TV. This has been a presentation of the Watertown Baseball Association in partnership with Aero TV and KXLG Radio. Like and subscribe to follow more of the purple and golds.